intros and then bring you in.
Okay, mate. Sounds good.
Welcome to F1 tonight. Yes, I'm here to spoil your evening. I'm back, and I am joined in the commentary box this evening by, all I can say is an excuse me, ex-driver who's decided to go for the broadcast rather than the driving, but we'll touch on that in a minute. So please, everybody, give a warm welcome to Dan Huzzah Burt. Good evening, Daniel.
Good evening, mate. Thanks very much for the warm welcome.
No,
glad to be here.
A pleasure. As I was touching on, obviously, you've relinquished your seat in the Haas to join the broadcast team. So I'm happy on one score, but a little bit sad on the other one. Got to say, Dan, a little bit sad on the other one.
I think I'd have to agree. it's a bit of a mixed emotions with the decision, but one for the better, I think. So.
Well, certainly from the broadcast team's point of view, I'm happy for it.
It's going to be good fun.
Okay, so let's have a look at the championship standings as they are at this moment in time. Leading the way is Daniel Platt for Alfa Romeo on 218 points. Second is Tom Stevens on 121. Third, Sean Gregory on 120. That's for Toro Rosso. Then in fourth, we have Callum White. 5, Phil Harris for Williams. 6 is Ross Milburn for Toro Rosso. 7, Ryan Leah for Alfa Romeo. 8 is Gary McKenny for McLaren. 9 is Jake Sorrell for Ferrari. And 10 is Adrian Rich for Red Bull. Then 11, we have Tony Foster. 12, Jamie Good. 13, Cameron Widdowson. 14, we have Josh Diggles, your former teammate. Sean Street is in 15. Then Jack Wilson is 16. 17 is Jordan Marshall. 18 is Matt Goodyear. And 19 is Ryan Grice. And 20, the McLaren seat. We have a spare McLaren seat. We are in the process of testing. And we have done some tests. And we've got some future tests, I believe, coming along this weekend as well, haven't we?
I think that's right, yeah.
Yeah, from what Adrian was saying.
Soon, yeah.
This board, I mean, it's looking very tight, I've got to say. Certainly
tasty, isn't it?
Down
looking
from
good.
Second to fifth, those top 5. But
yeah,
Dylan Platt, 218 points. He's
running away
100 points, over 100 points ahead of second place Tom Steve. He is really running away with it, isn't he?
He's doing an incredible job so far this season.
I've got to say, very impressive indeed. But Tom Stevens, obviously, I've missed out on, unfortunately, Silverstone and Germany for UK with my little withdrawal. But Tom Stevens has come back up there, hasn't he? He's got back up into that second place. And there's a real fight, it seems, looking at this board between him and Sean Gregory and the Toro Rosso. Yeah,
definitely. He's had some up and downers this season, but his current form as of late was a third, first, and second last time out in Germany. So he'll be looking to carry on that momentum.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tonight.
And then, as I say, obviously, we've got the guys, obviously, 5 down to 2, very close. But you've got the 6 also, 6, 7, and 8, still close, 64, 69, 78 points between Russ Milburn, Ryan Lee, and Gary McKenny. Then we've got Jake Sorrell, Adrian Rich, equal effectively on 45 points. Then we look at the second half of the board, and it's still, even towards the end, it's still pretty tight. I mean, there is still a lot of movement that can happen there, isn't there?
There's a sort of a battle of two halves in the standings at the moment, but even so, both sides are, like you say, really, really quite close. So
Yeah, yeah.
There's change up and down possible across the standings.
It is. Well, we've got 9 races remaining, including this one. So still a lot to be done. This is only round 12. Let's have a look at the Constructors' Championship. So, unsurprisingly, leading the way are Alfa Romeo. They're on 287. Second are Mercedes on 220. So, only 67 points behind. Then we've got Toro Rosso on 198 in third place. Fourth are Rocket Williams on 104. Fifth are Ferrari on 86. Then we have McLaren, who are 6 on 85. Red Bull are 7 on 47. Eighth is Racing Point on 40. 9 is your former team Haas on 30. And bring up the rear there is Renault on 20. Yeah, I mean, obviously, in the Constructors' Championship, a reflection effectively of the Drivers' Championship. Alfa Romeo storming away there, but still pretty tight between second, third, and fourth, really.
Yeah, it is. Still quite close. Really up and down. I mean, Renault are definitely probably going to make a jump up pretty soon.
Yeah.
I would have thought. But yeah, like you said, still close up and down the field, really.
It is. And it's still, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see who's going to take that fifth place, because there is a real battle at the moment, certainly constructor-wise, going on between Ferrari and McLaren, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely.
So it'd be interesting to see how that pans out. Let's have a look at the track itself now. So the Hugaroring here in unpronounceable in Hungary. I wouldn't even dare try and pronounce that. 14 corners, obviously 3 sectors. Circuit length, 2.722 miles. Total race length is 190.531 miles, and we're looking at 70 laps. So, yeah, it's an endurance one. 70 laps on this circuit is going to be pretty hard going. 3 sectors, obviously, first sector start-finish just as before turn 4. Second sector takes us between 11 and 12. And obviously, third sector takes us from there to the start-finish line. And there are 2 DRS points, but only 1 activation. So the DRS activation is actually between 13 and 14. That activates out of 14 down the start-finish straight for the first DRS. And then the second DRS is out of turn 1 going towards turn 2. We were having a little chat before the broadcast, Daniel, regards the track. And it is a tricky track, let's be fair. And we were talking about overtaking points. And really, it's going to be tough. I mean, obviously, the start-finish straight, that DRS into turn 1, major overtaking point, and second one as well. But other than that, I mean, it's the end of sector 2, maybe as you're coming sort of 10 round to 11, and then sector 3 going down towards 12. If you're bold, I suppose, 13. But it is a very tricky track, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. The bold's going to be the big talking point of tonight, I think, with the overtaking opportunities you get around the Hugaroring. Sector 3 can be quite good for you if you're close to the car in front and are quite opportunistic through those weaving, 12, 13, and 14 onto the start finish straight. But like you said, mainly it's going to be 1, 2, maybe 6 as well if you get a good lunge into the chicane.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to be careful. I mean, that turn 4, that's going to be that's the one. That's the breaker, in my opinion, because it is it is a leap of faith when you're going round 4 in many respects.
Absolutely. Yeah, even with no one near you and not even trying to overtake, just trying to avoid that overrunning out of 4 to get your warning. Because
I mean, you've got the runoff on the right-hand side. But you then got to watch your entry into 5, because 5, you've got to really play the car around 5 to lay down the power towards that 6, 7 chicane, haven't you?
Yeah, I think of all the corners around the track, probably 5 is one of the toughest if you're not quite on the ball, because you get any of that right-hand curb and it's an automatic spin most times. Yeah.
Certainly sector 2 is going to be, I think, the interesting one without any shadow of doubt. Okay, so that's on the track. We're just going to quickly transition across. If you wouldn't just mind, Dan, while I just transition across and get the broadcast ready, just running through the drivers and who we've actually got with us this evening.
Well, currently we have 15 drivers, 2 of which are retired. That's Phil Harris and Sean Gregory down the back there, because they didn't manage to check in time. I'm gonna have to get the names right on my end before I start going through them all. But at the front at the moment, we've got Sean Street in the Force India. He's leading the way in Q1 at the moment. Matt Goodyear, I think he's the debutant tonight. He's in second place for Haas. His teammate Josh Diggle's in third at the minute, taking up actually very close to Matt. So that's going to be that's nice to see them running close together on his first race. Ryan Lear down there in fourth, and Jake Sorrell fifth. Dylan Platt in sixth at the moment, on the hard tyre though, albeit, and still very close to the soft runners as per usual with his lightning pace. I think that's Jamie Good, I believe, in seventh, with Tony Foster eighth, Cameron Whittier ninth, and Adrian Rich in 10th. Then we've got Callum White and Tom Stevens, the two Mercedes, 11th and 12th at the moment, Tom having yet to set a lap. And 13th place at the moment, Gary McKinney, but who hasn't set a lap time either, he's still in the pit. But 15 drivers tonight, so should be a good evening. Tom Stevens there coming across the line. 12th pace still, but he is on the hard tyre. A 1 minute 30 at the moment. So maybe not the cleanest of laps, but I'm sure that's going to improve by quite some margin very soon. Jake Sorrell now going out onto another lap. Currently P5. See how he gets on as he goes around the track. Jamie Good, the only one out there on the medium tyre.
I do apologise, Daniel. I was merrily talking away and realised I had the mic up rather than down, and I couldn't figure out why you kept talking over me.
Yeah, my apologies. You were muted, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I was. Oh, never mind. I'm just, I'm just wiping away the cobwebs, people. So bear with me. We're in Q1. 5 minutes left to Q1. What I was saying.
Go on, please.
Yeah, but what I was saying is, obviously we've got the drivers in this Q1 session. Normally we would have 20 drivers. We are running with 15, so this is a bit of a test session. Normally Q1 you go from 20 down to 15, and then Q2 you go from 15 down to 10, and those final 10 then going into the final Q3 shootout for their positions on the grid. However, this evening, as I say, with the 15 drivers, the guys are basically out on track at this moment, just really treating it as a bit of a test session, but being careful not to stick the car into the wall.
Absolutely. I mean, even in this session where they know they've got nothing to lose really in terms of being dropped out, it's still very important. As we see Jake Sorrell just having a bit of a moment out of turn one there, it's still very important to keep your head in the game and focus and don't lose it, because the last thing you want to do is crash the car in Q1 when you don't have to go out in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely, couldn't agree more. Let's have a quick look on there. And we were saying, obviously, Tom Stevens, he's gone out on that hard tyre, set a 1:17.4. That is competitive. I mean, Sean Street, he set the fastest at 1:17.1, so he's only 6/10 off him on that hard compound tyre. That's pretty impressive.
It is. I was saying, or at least I was thinking when we first came in the session, I saw he's got the hards on already. It's normally his standard procedure, I think, Dylan, to go out on the hard and just remind us of how very fast he is.
Yeah,
even on the hardest compound.
Indeed. I mean, both Dylan and Tom, they're very close.
Yeah.
4/10 at the moment between them, but as I say, it's a test session. Obviously, they've got 4 laps on those hards. No great shakes on that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. And if you've spotted there the more astute of you, a nice green helmet spotted by Dylan Platt there, and a number of the drivers, as you can see, various themes on the colour green. And this has been promoted by your former teammate Josh Diggles, hasn't it?
Indeed, yeah, very lost for the word I'm trying to think of here, but a very nice touch from him in sort of an aid of mental health awareness.
Yeah.
All the drivers tonight wearing green in some shade and some form on their helmets tonight, just to show their support.
Indeed. I mean, we are obviously supporting mental health, not supporting it, obviously, that you should all have it, but obviously supporting it from the point of view that, there are people out there to help, there is support, it is now becoming more and more recognised within society, and the effects it can have on people's lives, and that can vary tremendously from, many sort of from devastating to, just uncomfortable, but it's something we should all be aware of and support those, unfortunately, who do suffer as well.
Absolutely, definitely. And just looking at the comments on YouTube, Matt Goodyear coming in and saying he's wearing a purple on his helmet tonight as well for Epilepsy Awareness Month. So another nice touch from him on his debut.
Nice one. Yeah, nice one. So Matt Goodyear, who's there currently in that P3 place, is in the pits. He's supporting the mental health, but also working with the other one, and that's on. What was it?
He's gone with for Epilepsy Awareness.
Epilepsy, yeah, and again, that's scary.
That one's close to home for me as well. So that's,
I mean, many years ago, I remember seeing a lady actually having a fit, and it is not amusing by any stretch of the imagination. It's quite frightening, actually.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, good to show the guys supporting the various charities and obviously issues regarding health out there. So Q1 coming to a close. Just having a quick look there. Gary McKenny putting in an impressive time there, 1:17.2. And McKenny, I think, during this first season of F1 Tonight UK, I would say he's actually probably one of the guys that's progressed the most. He's certainly a good driver, but he certainly seems to be growing, doesn't he?
He's a dark horse, Mr. McKenny. I used to race for him back in another league, maybe a year or so ago. And back then he was in the division below me, a bit slower. So for me, it's a huge jump I've seen him make, and really impressive. I know he's on the wheel now. He used to be on the pad. Really impressive improvement, really, from him. Probably one of the best of the rest, really, after some of the guys at the top.
Yeah, well, definitely, and it's reflected by his position, obviously, P8 in the Drivers' Championship at this moment in time. So that is reflected there. But he is a consistent driver, certainly when he races. But he's, as you say, he's starting to sort of eke his way up there, isn't he? And getting the racecraft together and everything. I think he's going to be a very interesting candidate to watch for season 2, actually.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, he had a career best 4th early on in the season. A DNF last time out, not ideal, but he'll be looking to come back strong today, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think so. And this Hugaroring, though, I mean, in a way, I'm almost glad that I actually missed the Hockenheimring, because it's probably one of my least favourite tracks.
Yeah.
But that said, Hugaroring, you either love it or you hate it. It's very Marmite, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. Personally, it's not one of my favourite tracks on the calendar. It's one it's similar to Monaco for me, in that when you get all the corners tied up nicely, it's a very satisfying track to drive, but it's so hard to get right, especially Sector 2. So it's not one of my favourites, but like you say, very love-hate.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose it's like everything. I mean, I often, when I'm commentating with Adrian on a Thursday night for the NL boys, I often make comment, and I think I do as well on this one, really. It's a track is almost like a song in many ways. You've got to get into the rhythm of it. And some tracks have a really good rhythm. Other tracks, not so good. It's quite difficult, really, isn't it?
Sorry, Ed, I'm just going to jump in. Adrian's now pointing out to me as well. I had noticed that Gary did finish 5th last time out. It was a DNF in Silverstone in Britain, so a 5th last time. So I just want to carry that on this time.
Indeed. So just to let you know, obviously in this Q2 we will be running with 12 drivers. Cameron Woodson, Phil Harris and Sean Gregory all supporting penalties, so they'll be starting at the back of the grid. I was also thought that Matt...
I was just thinking that, actually. It's interesting. I think you may have been right. Perhaps he has run before, because he's been allowed to qualify. So I
think Matt Goodyear, as he has raced previously, with F1 Tonight UK. He did sort of jump out, and now he's come back in again. So he doesn't need to be starting at the back of that grid. So Q2, just under 15 minutes to run on this queue. And it's going to be interesting. Obviously, we're going to expect some fast times, certainly, from the likes of Ryan Lear, Tom Stevens, Phil Harris as well. I would expect that's going to be up there. It's going to be interesting to see who else is going to be pushing there. I mean, certainly I would expect that that Toro Rosso would have been up there, but we haven't got any Toro Rossos in for this queue. So
no Ross Milburn tonight.
Indeed.
So, and he would definitely have been up there, I think.
Yeah,
it's fair to say.
So who's coming out of the track? And I think actually it looks like it was one of the guys up there. Tom Stevens has come out second. Oh, it's your former teammate Josh Diggles in the Haas, first man out. He's followed by Tom Stevens, and then I believe it's Sean Street. So Josh Diggles on his out lap. He's gone for the hard compound tyre for this queue, as has Dylan Platt. So it's going to be interesting. Obviously, it's a challenge because on these hard compound tyres, it's getting that that temperature up. We're just watching him coming into turn 4, and this is the leap of faith here. He's taking it nice and easy though, obviously on his out lap, and then we're coming round turn 5, that long winding turn. You've got to be careful how you lay the power down out of 5. Easy to spin out through the chicane there. 6, 7, round turn 8. I've got to say, this is my favourite turn on this track, turns 9, 10.
Yeah, it's a nice
11,
sweeping.
12. If you get it right, it's phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is good fun. So he's coming down now into 12. Just letting Tom Stevens lead the way there. So Tom, as I say, he's on the slightly faster medium tyre. So let's go with Tom Stevens as he starts his fast lap. 1:17.1 he set previously on the red compound soft tyre. I'd expect him to be probably pretty much close to that, even on this medium. I don't know what you think on that one, Dan.
Yeah.
Oh, Daniel, sorry. I know you don't like Dan, do you? I've got to get this right.
Either or. I like you can call me whatever you want, Eddie.
Okay. Well, Muppet.
Either or is fine. I think you're right. It's going to be another close lap time from Tom on the medium tyre as well. So
yeah,
I would not be surprised.
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting to see what he delivers on that. Although your teammate has got ahead of him again, actually, by the looks of it. Me saying that.
Yeah, it looks like maybe Tom had a bit of a
wobble.
A moment, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be setting the fast one on this one, but Josh is obviously out there, just coming through 6, 7 now. Josh, obviously an experienced driver, not so experienced on 100% as the majority of the drivers in the league, but everyone seems to be coping with it pretty well now. I think they've pretty much got into their comfort zone on the 100%, haven't they? Yeah,
absolutely. I think after this many races, this is race 12 or 13 tonight, isn't it? It's one of them.
Yeah. Well, Sean Street, sorry, he's just set a 1:16.8 on those soft compound tyres. Yeah. So he jumped ahead of those guys. Nice little run from him there. Josh and Tom Stevens not set a time as yet.
Just coming across the line now. 1:18.398.
Yeah, that's Josh Diggles, so a couple of seconds off there. Jamie Good, 1:17.6 in that second racing point. Callum White in the Mercedes, so 1:26. Tom Stevens, 1:27. These guys obviously not quite gone up. Dylan Platt, 1:28. So these guys really, they're just getting that warmed up and getting that rubber down on the track. They're not really setting those blinding laps at this moment in time.
Not quite yet.
Gary McKenny's just jumped into provisional 6 with a 1:18. Just gone off the track there. I think that was actually turn 2 down into 3. Yes, it is.
A couple of drivers through, I think.
Tony Foster in the Ferrari, 1:17.8. Good run from Tony there. And again, Tony's another consistent driver. He's not always right up there, but he's consistent. He's always in that sort of, low sort of midfield, isn't he? In the points.
Yeah, that's consistency is key with this, really. If you can keep it on track and finish every race, there's plenty of opportunity to pick up some points regardless if you're blindingly quick or not.
Yeah, definitely makes a difference there. And Tony, one of our, let's say, more seasoned drivers in many ways. But it does always put up a good performance. Always like to see Tony there. I'm hoping to join him next. When I say join him, I mean join the guys next season.
Yes.
I'm not too sure how that's going to pan out, although I will go for the qualifying session. I don't think it's fair not to. So I will be looking to try and do I will be doing a test session to see whether I'm actually good enough or indeed fast enough for the guys. So hopefully I should be okay.
Yeah, lovely stuff. That will be very exciting.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't quite go that far. We'll see how
Depends how you look at it.
Yeah, we'll see how that pans out. But very interesting. Both Tom Stevens now and Cameron Widdowson obviously setting that 1:16.8 from Callum and a 1:16.5 there from Tom Stevens. So the Mercedes boys at the moment 1-2. Sean Street in the racing point 1:16. He's divisional 3. Matt Goodyear, who we were referring to there, who's taking your seat in the Haas. He's in 4. Jamie Good in the Racing Point 5. Tony Foster 6. Ryan Lear 7. Dylan Platt still not getting the performance out of those hard compound tyres. He's got time to do it, but he does need to up his game a bit if he wants to stick with that. But then again, I suppose, I'm just looking at this really, he's only got 2 drivers to beat. He's actually come into the pit, so I suspect he's probably going to go on to the mediums actually.
I thought so. I don't think the hard probably one of the best starting tyres around here.
It's difficult. If you can get in that top 10, it's worth it, because that's what the tyre you'll be starting on. So from that point of view, but you know, starting on a hard compound tyre with those Mercedes boys there, I think it's a bit of a risk, because you could lose quite a number of places very quickly off that start line.
Yeah, absolutely. Turn 1 helps though to get them back if you can be optimistic with your braking.
Well, I say if you can do a Ricardo on your braking into turn 1, you're laughing, really.
Yeah.
So we're on board with Josh Diggles at this moment. He's provisional 8. He's on that hard compound tyre, so it's looking pretty good for him. I mean, tyre strategy-wise, any thoughts on that at all, Dan?
I'm always a bit on the fence with strategy. I would have probably gone for a medium if I was racing today for Q2. Potentially try and make it a 1-stop, but degradation's quite high around here. So it's a challenge to do so. Josh may be on the right lines with the hard then, making a 1-stop work perhaps. But I think for me it would have been a medium onto perhaps softs.
Yeah, I've got to say it is a tricky one. Obviously, expectations of a safety car, I'd say, are probably around about 20-25%. Changing weather, we shouldn't have that. I would expect that it should stay well. And again, we haven't checked the weather. Obviously, this is qualification. The weather can change for the race. Not a pleasant track in the wet, certainly, but we have had a number of wet races this season already, haven't we?
Indeed, yeah. I must say a bit of rain would certainly churn things up a bit.
Yeah, it's
but not the funniest to drive in, that's for sure.
No, not on this one, but we'll see how that pans out. It's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, 2 drivers will be dropped at this moment in time, and as it sits, that's Adrian Rich and Jake Sorrell. Jake Sorrell still to actually set a time. He is out on track. Oh, and Adrian Rich has spun out. He hasn't got any damage. And that is actually out of turn 5, I think.
Yeah, it is. He perhaps caught a bit of that curb.
Yeah.
On the inside there. So, and as I said earlier, it just throws you off the track.
Yeah. That's what I say. You've got to be so careful round 5, and especially on that exit as well. That was actually as he was going around, so I suspect he probably just got the wrong line actually coming into that turn.
Yeah.
And that's probably what set him off.
Come out unscathed, I think. No damage to the front wing, I can see.
Yeah, I can't see any damage. I think he managed to stop in time. Jake Sorrell just coming around the penultimate turn. Now 13 into the final turn of 14. 170, I would say it's going to be probably 119. No, more than that, sorry. Yeah, it's just further down, 122. So he's set, and it's invalidated as well. So he needs to get his finger out. He's still got 5 minutes remaining, so there's still time on that. He's on a fresh set of medium compound tyres. For those of you that may be unfamiliar, as you can see on here, 3 tyre compounds. The red walled soft, yellow walled medium, and the white walled hard. As they all suggest in their name, that is the type of compound that they are. So the soft compound is generally obviously the fastest, however it's also the less durable. The medium compound sits in the middle, and the hard compound obviously is the hardest and the most durable. So this is where effectively the strategy comes into play, and as Dan was saying there, he'd probably go err on the side of caution for a 2-stop, go for medium soft. So that could be a combination soft medium soft, or medium soft soft, or soft soft medium, whichever way you want to work it, but it's 2 stops. The guys on the hard compound tyres, I would suspect are probably going to be going for a longer stint, and they'd probably be looking on that hard compound tyre to go into the 40s, maybe into the low 50s, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I would have thought so. Perhaps pull that soft tyre out at the end.
Yeah.
As Jake's just come around with the start with a 118.
Yeah, 118, so that does put him in provisional P10. He's actually pushed Dylan Platt down. Dylan Platt has come out, as I suspected, on the mediums. He's just coming round the end of the second sector into the third sector. Looking pretty respectable. Yeah, it's locked up there though into 13. Coming out now, round 14. Yeah, this should be a good time on that medium. It's probably going to be a 116, I suspect, or thereabouts. Ooh, 117.
117 on the dot.
Yeah, but that's
Very
enough.
nice.
That'll do the job.
That'll do it.
That'll get him into that Q3 session. So he's happy with that. So let's have a look at the guys at the moment. They're in the drop zone. Jake Sorrell, he's just coming round 11 now. Coming round 10 into 11. Down towards 12. Not set a time. Oh, this high is 105, 106. He's just not getting the feel of this track, is he?
Yeah, he's in an in-lap at the moment. I think if he'll be lucky to get in and back out for another lap in time. Yeah. But if he does, if I was Josh Diggles, I think I'd be going out just for one more banker.
And he spun it! He spun it on the pit entry. He's lost his front wing. Oh, dearie me. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but we had a very unusual incident in season 4 of Netherlands League with Nicky Visser, who is leading the Netherlands League this season 6, where he was coming into the pits, and you know that green sort of soft barrier on the left-hand side?
Yeah.
He actually went into it because it was on the middle of the pit entry lane, and basically DNF'd for leading the race.
Well, that's not ideal.
So every time I see the guys going into the pits and I see that green barrier on the left, I'm always
a bit on edge.
Yeah, I'm also a little bit edgy as to what might happen. So yeah, that's an interesting one for those of you that might want to catch that. That's the season 4 Netherlands-Hungary race. That will be on our YouTube channel, as are the vast majority of the races. Jake Sorrell is now coming out. He's gone onto the softs. He's got 127. He's going to have to treat this out lap as almost a fast lap, really.
Yeah, he is.
Adrian Rich.
Josh is back out.
Yeah, Adrian Rich is on his out lap. He's just coming into 14 now. So let's actually ride on board with Adrian. Get a feel for how this feels, more or less from the driver's perspective. Not quite cockpit view, just above. So coming down into turn 1. Watch that entry, get on that right-hand side, ride that curve as much as you can, then wide out to the left, ride that curve, bring it back in again as you come down towards turn 2. Now this is a downhill, very tricky turn. You've got to be careful as you lead into that, as you lay down your power, then really foot down as you come out of 3, leading up to 4. This is the leap of faith. You've got to really know your entry point there. Can go at full speed, down in round 5 now, and you can see you don't really want to touch that curve on the right hand side because it will throw you. Into the chicane, the right left of 6-7. This is where you can start to speed up now, really hit those apexes, building up the speed all the way, coming round 8, 9, 10, into 11, nicely held there. Down towards 12 into the final sector now, round 12. coming down. Get yourself ready for that entry into 13. Keep it close in on the left-hand side. Go wide on the left. Now bring it in. And again, 14 can be quite a tricky turn in itself. Onto that start-finish straight. And he sets a 1:17.2. So he does get out of the relegation.
Jake Sorrell has lost it out of turn 1.
He has. I don't know where he's lost it, but I can see that he's actually
out of turn
DNF'd.
1. And he's obviously retired as a result. I don't think he actually had terminal damage though, so whether he tried on track or not, I'm not sure.
Well, Josh Diggle's now coming round for a fast run. This is imperative if he wants to get into that Q3. Obviously, he'll be starting that P11. He's coming around 13 now, and this is going to be close, I think. Yeah, it's going to be very close indeed. As he comes out there, what's he going to do? Can he better that 170? Oh, and he does. He pushes Tony Foster into the drop zone in that Ferrari.
Tony's 4 tenths up. It'll be interesting to see if he can jump on Adrian.
No, Tony Foster.
He's done it.
He does it. He does it. He has done it. Just at the knockings there. Tony Foster got through. Look at that. 7th place. And unfortunately knocks Adrian Rich in that Red Bull into that P11 place. Well, that was very, very tight indeed. So as you can see there, let's go in reverse order. Jake Sorrell in the Ferrari. He'll be starting row 6 in P12. Alongside him in P11 will be the Red Bull of Adrian Rich. Then in row 5, P10, well, provisional, effectively, we've got Jamie Good, Gary McKenny, Josh Diggles, Tony Foster, Dylan Platt. Great run there from Tony Foster as well. Dylan Platt, Matt Goodyear, Sean Street, Callum White, Ryan Lear and Tom Stevens. Those are our 10 drivers into that Q3 session. Before Q3 gets going, we'd like to play a little game here in the commentary team, in the broadcast team of F1 Tonight, and we'd like to announce who we think is going to be on pole. So, as it's your debut, Dan, I think it's only fair you have the first roll of the dice, so to speak.
Well, I'm going to go straight in, and I think it's going to be Tom tonight. Indeed, Tom Stevens, I think, is the man on that P1 spot tonight, I think.
I'm just looking
at
this.
What about you, Eddie?
I don't know. I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know. I'm going to go with Matt Goodyear.
Ooh. I would love that, actually, because he's almost my spirit driver now. yeah, exactly. No, I'm going to go with Matt Goodyear. I don't know why. Don't ask me why, but I'm going to go with Matt Goodyear. Well, let's have it. So, sounds good to me. All the drivers we expected are on the soft compound tyre. Just disable that on there. And a number of drivers already out. Dylan Platt's on his out lap. Tom Stevens is as well. He's just coming up round 4. Gary McKenny coming round 2 now. Oh, giving a little bit of Callum. Oh, he's letting Callum White through. So that's where we go there. So let's go on board with Tom Stevens. Just coming into 6, 7, round 8, into 9 now. So we'll stay on board with him. He's on his out lap, so he will be starting his fast lap, obviously, at the end of this. Just over 10 minutes of this queue will remain. Obviously, Tom is got Dan's vote for the pole. I've gone somewhat left field, I think, although quietly confident with Matt Goodyear. We'll see how that one pans out. Hopefully, Matt's not listening, because it always tends to put the drivers off when you call them out. So, yeah, I must say, I never had the stream running. It's Tom Stevens now. We'll go on board with Tom for this opening lap, and immediately you can see there that and I think this is what a lot of times defines a fast driver, is how you use the width of the track, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. I used to love watching the likes of Tom and Dylan when I was in the pit, just to try and get any little tip I can get out of their driving style, their driving line. Like you said, it's the width of the track they use. Even the gears, the gear shifts, you often see them go down a gear lower than you would normally do, just to help get that car turned in a little bit better. It really is quite impressive to see him right around the track.
He's definitely pushing it. There's no two ways about it. He's coming near to the mark. And the thing is with Tom, and during his races, his Achilles heel, I don't know if he's overcome it since Silverstone and Hockenheimring. His Achilles heel was really those points that he got on exceeding track limits, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a tough one to avoid sometimes, but it's.
He set a 1:15.7.
There we go.
Oh my goodness me! That is absolutely phenomenal. Ryan Lear is coming round now. I don't think he's going to be. I think he's going to be round about the 1:17. I would suspect. Let's have a look. Yeah, 1:17.0 from Ryan Lear. Gary McKenny, 1:16.8. Callum White, a 1:16.5. So good run there from Dylan Platt, 1:16.1. So he split the Mercedes at this moment in time. Matt Goodyear now coming round. And oh dear, yeah, I've definitely put him off, haven't I?
Let's see, you never know.
No, unless he's got turbocharge and he can reverse time.
He's had a bit of a
unless he does a Superman.
He's had a bit of a moment, I think, somewhere.
Yeah. Unless he does a Superman and spins the Earth in its opposite rotation, I think that's going to stick as not quite getting it. But Tony Foster, 1:17.8. He's looking quite comfortable on this track, Tony, isn't he?
Isn't he? Actually.
Yeah. I mean, as I say, Tony is a very consistent driver, as we've touched on earlier. But he's actually looking quite racy. Oh, near wobble round 5 there, nearly loses it, but maintained it. Fair play. That was good going from him.
It's interesting, actually, just touching on Adrian Rich's very lovely race predictions here. Yeah. He actually put Tony in 11th place for qualifying, so he's already gone above and beyond his prediction for quali, at least. So yeah, he's looking quick today. He
is looking racy, I've got to say. Definitely looking racy. Jamie Good's in the pits at the moment. Josh Diggle's just coming round on his outlap. Oh, yeah, that was a nice fake there. He had a wobble into 11 and then decided to slow down and sort of get some heat into the tyre. Yeah, I knew what I was doing, honest. That was that sort of move, wasn't it? Let's be fair.
It was a bit. Here he goes again.
Right. So he's now going to be biting his bottom lip, concentrating on getting a hot lap going. And let's go on board with him and let's have a look at how this differs, if at all, from what we saw Tom Stevens set with that 1:15.7. Rides that curve on the right-hand side a lot more in turn 1, certainly. Into 2, good line round 2. There, yep, looking good. Really attacking that turn 3. Nice done, very smooth, got to say, round those turns. Into 4 now. Good pace there. We've got a yellow flag as he's coming round 5. Keeping concentration up. Good exit out of 5. Green there into 6, 7. Good entry, exit. Yeah, nicely ridden there. This is looking quite a tidy lap, I've got to say, at this moment in time, isn't it, Dan?
It is. Very smooth. The first sector was bang on it as it comes round 11 there to complete sector 2.
That right hand 12 now. Good entry and exit there. Very nice indeed. Into 13. This is looking rather nice, I've got to say. This is looking rather nice. It's going to be a 1:15, high 1:15.16. Oh, 1:16.6.
Not too bad.
I think he lost a little bit of time.
I think he'll take that. P4.
Yeah, provisional. Definitely. Provisional 4 there. So that's row 2. Gary McKenny in the pits. Ryan Lear in the pits. Matt Goodyear in the pits. Sean Street out on track at this moment in time. Not going particularly fast. Tony Foster is on another outlap. Jamie Good is in the pit. So let's go with Sean Street. And Sean certainly had a good start when he's on his start into, the F1 Tonight UK with his opening races. hasn't, I don't think, quite maybe delivered. I don't know, or I didn't catch the races obviously for Silverstone and Hockenheim. He's definitely a capable driver. There's no two ways about it, isn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. His last race out was a P6, so not too terrible.
Yeah.
But before that, it was a did not start for Silverstone and a DNF beforehand. So he has raced last week at least, so he's still in the game. Which is nice. So I think he's got something to build on. The P6 is a nice finishing position, nice points, 8 points.
Yeah. Definitely, no, good run from him, and he's another driver from what I've seen of him. I think he's going to be a future contender. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, definitely. Adrian bang on it with his quality prediction of 8th. So, depending if he stays there or not, he's in the spots.
Yes, and for those of you that who's Adrian in? Well, we're referring to Adrian Rich. Who is actually in that Red Bull this evening. He does co-commentate with myself on the Netherlands League, but Adrian is an amazing statistician, I would say. Wouldn't you say, Dan?
Absolutely, 100% agree with you, Eddie.
Yeah, he is fantastic. He's actually set out some predictions for the F1 Tonight UK, which Dan is obviously drawing on and utilising, and he's pretty good on that, I've got to say. Obviously, he can't be right all the time. If he was, then I'd be asking him about the 2:30 at Kempton Park, but I'd get him studying the form on the GGs, that's for sure. So Tony Foster, 117.2 at this moment. He's sitting in that row 5, provisional P9. We've got a number of drivers out on track. Ryan Lear, Gary McKenny is out on track. He's just ahead of Ryan, and Josh Diggle's coming out there. So we're riding with Gary McKenny, and he is on a fast. Is he on a fast lap? No.
I think he's a 10th up at the moment. So I think he is.
He might well be actually.
I was just thinking there's a battle for P3 on the cards here. I think
Dylan
it's only
Platt. Sorry,
2
Dylan
tenths.
Platt.
He goes.
1:15.6 takes that provisional P1. Gary McKenny coming round the final corner now, looking respectable. 1:16.9. Doesn't better his time. Still finishing in that P5. Ryan Lear now coming round into 14. This is looking 1:15, 1:16. 1:16. Yeah, 1:16.7 from Ryan Lear. Tony Foster, he's coming into the pit, so he's quit out of that one, coming into the pits. And we've got Josh Diggles, Callum White, and Tom Stevens on open out laps rather. So we'll ride Tom Stevens. He seems to be leading that pack. There's only 1 minute remaining, so these are more or less going to be the final guys to come round. Dylan Platt's taken that P1 position from Tom Stevens. Remember, Dylan Platt qualified in Q2 on the medium compound tyre. So that's going to be an interesting one if he does actually stay ahead of Tom for the start of this race. Tom coming around on his final, on his out lap. So he's now starting his fast lap. As I said, these are the guys now starting theirs. So Tom coming down into turn 1. Good entry exit there. Is Tom going to be able to better this time? It's well, if anyone can do it, I think Tom can.
Yeah, he's the man for the job.
How's he looking on his sector time? So he's down, but only 6,000, so not quite enough at this moment in time. He needs to get at least 100th
to dethrone Dylan.
Yeah, needs at least to 100th plus to do it. Not quite there yet. Just coming into the end of sector 2, so we'll have an idea of how he's done in that sector 2. So he's down 4 tenths.
Oh, there
so
he
it's
is.
enough. That's more than enough to take that position from Dylan Platt. He comes round the penultimate turn 13 there now into turn 14. Oh, this is looking, I don't know. no. Has he lost time? I don't know.
I don't think he has. I think he's got it.
1:15.2. Yes, look at that. Takes that first place. Fantastic run for him. His teammate, Callum White, coming round now. He's not quite looking as racy. I don't know, though. Can he do it? It's not looking too bad. It's not looking too bad. He needs to come round on the apex of that corner, 111. I don't think he's there. I don't think Callum White's quite got it. No, he hasn't. So he will be starting. I think that was that P4 position, yes, for Callum White. Yeah. So he'll be second row, P4, and we'll run through the top 10 there. But gotta say, good first shout, Dan. Tom Stevens, taking the pole there. 1:15.2. Dylan Platt will be alongside him in that first row. Then we've got Sean Street, who we were referring to earlier. Look at that, gets up into P3. Lovely run from him, from the Racing Point driver. So he's in row 2, P3. Alongside him will be Callum White in the Mercedes. Row 3, P5, Josh Diggles in the Haas. Alongside him will be Ryan Lear in the Alfa Romeo. P7, row 4, Gary McKenny in the McLaren. Alongside him in 8 will be the new driver of Matt Goodyear in the Haas, or taking the new seat. And in row 5, P9, Jamie Good in the Racing Point, and alongside him will be Tony Foster in the Ferrari. Interesting grid, certainly, and it's going to be interesting to see.
This could really stir things up.
Well, here we go. What can I say? Well, this is F1 Tonight UK. And we are here for round 12 of season 1 at the Hugaroring. And it's raining.
Sure is. It'll be interesting to see if the drivers knew this before the session started tonight, and if they've gone for a wet setup or not.
Well, yeah, because this is critical, really. Downforce is king here. And let's be fair, the way this rain is coming down, I suspect it's going to be full wet. And I suspect it's going to be for a reasonable distance as well. So we could well see a safety car come into play here, because this track is not wet friendly, is it?
It's not. It's not the funnest one to drive in the wet. That's no question about that.
It's going to be very interesting to see how this is going to pan out. Obviously, what are your thoughts there? Some drivers relish the rain, others don't. And I've got to say, I think Josh Diggles is probably going to have a wry smile on his face, because let's remember,
I think you're right.
He's starting at the back of that grid. I think he's in row 7, so around about 13 or 14. Josh does like the rain, doesn't he?
He does. He likes the rain, and he loves taking a good amount of places in the first lap. So it's going to be interesting to see how he performs from lights out today. Yeah,
well, and don't forget, we've also got Phil Harris at the back there. I mean, Phil, obviously, right up there in the leaderboards for the championship. Very competent driver. Also quite confident in the rain, from what I recall. So he's going to be another one that's going to come. So we've got 3 drivers at the back there who are very much out of place. They're going to be looking to come through. It's going to be... I think this is going to be. I think this is going to be another classic race, Dan.
Yes, let's hope so. I mean, Sean Gregory down the back there, renowned for his coming from the behind and finishing up the top.
Yeah.
It's one of his specialities, you could say. So we'll be looking for him to make a charge through the field.
Yeah, well, as I say, definitely those 3 guys at the back are going to be coming through, but they're also going to be challenging each other as they're coming through as well, aren't they? Because this is the thing. If you're out of place at the start of a race, you're starting at the back of the grid. I wouldn't say you're confident, but you're normally pretty quietly sort of, this should be okay, because ultimately, at the end of the day, these guys I know are somewhat slower that are ahead of me. That's not going to be the case for these guys here. So let's run through the drivers as it stands at this moment in time, and their positions. You're going to have to bear with me here. So Tom Stevens leading the way in P1. Alongside him will be Dylan Platt in the Alfa Romeo. Then in row 2 we have Sean Street, and he's sitting in that P3 place on the grid. That's Sean Street in the racing point. Alongside him will be Callum White in the Mercedes. And oh my goodness me, I've lost my place. Oh, never mind. I normally have these colour coded, but I didn't have that set up. So then we've got Josh Diggles. He's in P5. P6 is Ryan Leah in the Alfa Romeo. P7, Gary McKenny in the McLaren. Always generally round that sort of position, McKenny. So, and again, he is another driver that likes to race. Let me just see how he performs. Matt Goodyear is in P8 in your old seat there. Then we've got Jamie Good in P9 in the Racing Point. P10, Tony Foster. Then we've got Adrian Rich in the Red Bull. Good old Adrian in the 11th there. Jake Sorrell in the Ferrari is behind him in 12. So Adrian in that Red Bull is in a Ferrari sandwich for the start of this race. Then we have Cameron Widdowson in 13 in the Renault. Phil Harris is in 14 in that Williams. Sean Gregory is in 15 in that Toro Rosso. Watch these two guys for the start of this race. Tyres, yeah, they are indeed on full wets, as I suspected. So drivers now coming round onto the grid. And the race will be getting underway shortly. Just a reminder, if you'd forgotten, this is F1 Tonight UK, and this is season 1. Round 12, and what a season it has been so far. It really has been an amazing opening season here for the F1 Tonight boys. They're getting on the grid now. Lights are lighting up, and we are off for the start of this F1 Tonight, round 12, season 1 Hungarian Grand Prix, as they're coming down, slipping, sliding all over the place in these wet conditions. And look at that, Tom Stevens is waiting, but oh my goodness me, what's going on there? Oh dear me, that's the Haas there going off, I think, of Matt Goodyear. But another driver's getting through. Dylan Platt loses out majorly. Josh Diggles, though, gets up into second place, up 3 places. Dylan drops that 1. Sean Street down 1. Callum White down 1. Ryan Leah stays where he was, up 3. Tony Foster up 2 now as Gary McKenny reassumes it at 7th place. Jake Sorrell up 3. Phil Harris is already up into P10.
I mean, how do you do that?
That is phenomenal.
It's Hungary.
Absolutely phenomenal run there from
stuff.
Phil Harris. Really hassling those Ferraris that are ahead of him. Adrian Rich stays in 11. Matt Goodyear is down 4 to 12. Sean Gregory up 2 to 13. Cameron Widdowson is, down 1 in 14. Jamie Good down 6. He really suffered on that opening lap on the start there, didn't he, Jamie?
Yeah, starting in the wet is never fun on the best of days. But
Tom Stevens, look at this. We're coming round to the end of the first lap.
3 seconds already?
Tom Stevens is already 3.2 seconds ahead of Josh Diggles, your former teammate, in second place. But look at this fight here between Dylan Platt and Callum White as they're coming round the final turn there. Oh, Dylan Will. That was close. That was very close indeed. Then you've got Sean Street there behind them as well. Let's go on board here with Callum White as they're coming down into 1. Look at this. Right, side by side, they're coming to 1. Watch them here as they're coming round 1. Who's going to get it? Oh, and Callum's gone wide. Callum's gone wide. Dylan holds it.
Sean comes up into 4th. Overtaking on the inside.
Oh, look at
leading
that.
into
Sean
2.
Street, yeah.
I think Sean was waiting for that, waiting for a little issue between Callum and Dylan there, and he's struck
Matt Goodyear's DNF'd.
that opportunity.
Sorry, Matt Goodyear has DNF'd. Not too sure what that was. That may have been into turn 1 actually.
Yeah, I can't see where that's happened actually.
So Matt Goodyear has gone out. Sean Street is hassling Dylan Platt at this moment in time, but Dylan is equally hassling Josh Diggles here. Look at this. Right on him. Make the move. Look at that. Fantastic. Oh, and there's been a contact there. Oh, and he he's spun.
No.
He needs to get off that track so he avoids getting hit by any of the other cars coming round. And that's dropped Dylan right down into P9. But I think that was a racing incident from what I could see there. There was just contact and that was it under these wet conditions. Not surprising, I've got to say.
Yeah, no doubt he had the pace into 7 there, but I think just in the wet, it was maybe a bit too opportunistic at that moment in time. Sean Gregory, though, up 6 places on lap 2, P9 currently, looking very comfortable in the wet conditions so far.
Phil Harris already up to P7 and hassling Ryan Lear. He's got Jake Sorrell on his tail as well. And not uncommon, I've got to say, from what I recall, Jake Sorrell does... he's a good hassler, isn't he? He's not the sort of guy you really want to have behind you.
No, he's not. I know that from experience around Silverstone.
Oh! And the Ferrari's made contact with the Williams. He's lost an end plate. Just want to see as he comes out. Looks like, he's lost the front right end plate, I think.
Ryan Lear looking a bit slippery there through 2. As Phil Harris comes back at Jake.
Yeah, Phil Harris indeed is hassling now.
That 7th place.
Ryan Lear, you can see this here as we go on the onboards. Really, really close, but Jake Sorrell is going to be suffering with that downforce, and you really need downforce in these wet conditions. Although you can obviously work the gears a little bit more, but Phil Harris really fighting round 6 and 7 to keep that distance behind Ryan Lear.
Interesting though, Dylan Platt now P14. I think he was just in the pit, so perhaps he lost it again and damaged his wing.
I think that's frustration, let's be fair. When you've tried to make the move, it hasn't paid off.
Absolutely.
You get pretty annoyed with yourself, and it takes, you've got to be under super control to actually rein that in and get back on concentrating and just put it behind you.
Yeah, that's it. It's so challenging to do it. It's so much easier said than done in the race environment to put that behind you. But you need to do it just to put the car on track and keep yourself in the game. It's Gary McKenny in P4 now. Yeah,
Gary McKenny is indeed up to 4. But I'm just watching Phil Harris on Ryan Lear as they're coming down into turn 1. He's just hanging back there.
He's just getting his nose in.
Hits the apex and he's got it. I think he's going to get it. Yeah, he does. Yeah, lovely move there from Phil Harris. You can see him lining that up on the approach into 1.
Ryan goes on the grass there.
On the grass, right off there.
Into, could lose it. Oh, just keeps it on. But
just about. Jake Sorrell gets past him in the Ferrari. So, little bit
Sean
of
Gregory
a wobble.
now is going to be lining him up, I think. Not through 4 though, I hope.
No, he's probably going to watch him on the exit of 5. So Sean Gregory.
Yeah.
It's a bit like seeing a wounded animal, isn't it? You just want to put it out of its misery. You want to get past it. Clearly, Ryan Lear is just
on the weakest of the herd. Sean Gregory is. Ryan Lear is that weak one, I'm afraid, at this point.
He's just not looking comfortable out there at the moment, is he, Dan?
He's not. No, I think that it takes such a long time. Once you get on the grass in F1 2019, you get that grass on your tyres, and it takes about half a lap before you get that grip back. And in the rain, it's even harder to get that grip back. So you can see how he's dropped off from the back of Jake as well through the course of this.
Yeah, he has.
Now.
He has.
Sean now looking up the inside through 12.
Is he going to try and get it? I don't know if, to be fair.
On the outside of here, can he do it? 13?
I don't know. I think Ryan's got the advantage.
Inside.
But he will have the inside. Yes, he makes the move. Can he make it stick? Yes, he does make it stick. Round 14. And now Jamie Good is challenging Ryan as well as they come down to the start-finish straight. We'll stay on that. I know the guys ahead are pretty much where they were, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. But I want to see this entry into 1 here with Jamie Good and Ryan Lear. Ryan does maintain it. Yeah, he does, stays ahead, but
keeps that light pace.
Jamie's going to be laying that pressure down as much as he can. Oh dear. Cameron Widdowson has DNF'd as well. Don't know where that is.
No, I'm not sure.
Go on board with Dylan Platt. Oh, and he nearly loses it. Nearly loses it there.
2 Alfa Romeos here, not having the best of races so far.
Is this what we were discussing though earlier Dan, in regards to the setup?
The
Were these guys just simply not aware
I was
of
just
the
thinking
wet conditions?
After we spoke about that, I'm just thinking about the tyre choices they were making in Q2 would suggest they didn't realise rain would be coming, because no one qualified no one went around in the soft, or at least all of them didn't do the soft, which is what you would have probably expected, yeah, if they knew a race was coming up, because they've got no need to run another compound.
Yeah, Dylan definitely not feeling comfortable. He's just gone through 6-7. I think he's trying to get his composure back as well to a degree, but yeah, this so far is not going well for him, because he's 15 seconds off 12th place Tony Foster. If you mount it up, he's probably about a good 40 seconds off race leader Tom Stevens.
Yeah, he is. And speaking of Tom Stevens, 6 laps in, and just a nice 13-second gap to P2.
Yeah, it's just crazy, isn't it? I mean, Tom Stevens here really showing his calibre. Tom is an amazing driver. So his Achilles heel has been with regards to the points he's accumulated during the races or exceeding track limits. I know that's an area that he was very much looking to work on, and I think he has obviously done so in the past 2 races, because he's progressed up that leaderboard and showing what he's capable of. But what he's doing here, I've got to say, is phenomenal. 6 laps in, as you say, he's 13 seconds ahead of second place Josh Diggles.
He's just driving away from them now at this point.
Absolutely amazing. Now, Josh Diggles is in 2nd place, as I was saying there. Great start from Josh, wasn't it? I mean, really was a great start from him.
It always is.
That 2nd place.
Yeah, he's got such a knack for finding those lines through the field and making the car get through any gap you like.
Yeah,
he'll be up a couple of places after that one, I can assure you. But Callum's slowly coming back at him. It was 9 tenths at the beginning of the lap, and we're down to 7 now. So he's just reeling him in slowly but surely. So I'd expect the fight between these two
let's watch it down into turn 1. Callum obviously sitting in that P3 place at the moment. He's up 1 that started in 4. But yeah, it's looking pretty solid from him. But Josh, not an easy man to overtake, I've got to say.
No, he's not. So I'm hoping they're gonna get quite close soon, and we'll have an interesting little fight for P2 on our hands, I think.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a bit of a fight going on at the moment, certainly for P5. Phil Harris just really mowing his way through this field, already up to P5. He's 3 tenths off the back of Gary McKenny now.
He is. It was 1.2 before turn 1, so I think Gary had a bit of an off, perhaps through 2. And Phil's been able to capitalise on that. And now, as I said, only 4 tenths off the back of the McLaren in front as they come through the chicane. Not many overtaking spots really now until perhaps turn 12.
Yeah,
get braking right.
Yeah, and it's under these wet conditions as well. It's doubly difficult really for these guys. But Phil Harris, as I say, carving his way. He's going to have a bit more of a challenge certainly on his hands with Gary McKenny in that McLaren, and Sean Street in behind Phil as well.
Now getting on the back of them.
Yeah, so he's regaining his places that he's lost, and coming back on those guys there. P7, Sean Gregory. Well, he started, lest we forget, at the back of the grid. So not quite the progression that Phil Harris done, but he's not too far behind him. There's only a driver between them, isn't it?
No, yeah. Only a place difference in their gain so far. I'm sure he won't be long before we see him on the back of that group up in front.
And Jake Sorrell is on the back of him and challenging into turn 1.
He's going for the move.
He is. Can he make
it stick? Outside.
Oh, and he does! Look at that.
Nice.
Nice move there from Jake Sorrell. You could see him lining him up down the start-finish straight. But Sean's not giving up. He's coming back round 2. This is going to be the one now into 3. That's going to be the one that decides it. Yes! Oh, and they're side by side as they're coming up to... Oh! And they made contact! They made contact in a major way there. Or have they?
I don't know what I'm seeing. I'm seeing Adrian and Jamie Goods now.
I'm seeing both cars on top of each other. Sorry, we've got a glitch here in the game because the guys are so close. They're actually
I
sitting
saw
on top of
lag.
each other.
I saw lag, and Jake Sorrell and Sean Gregory were within each other, I should say.
Yeah.
But
Well,
now
I can actually see
Sean-
Jake Sorrell mounting Sean Gregory.
I've
There's a
seen
scary
that on the
thought.
stream also, yeah. There's some Formula 1 car mating going on. but worth noting, Adrian Rich and Jamie Good are both out of this race.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure where, but I'd assume they came together.
I think that may have been what may have caused the glitch.
Yeah.
Because Adrian Rich is obviously hosting, so there may have been something there that caused the glitch.
Yeah, that could have been
that
it.
We saw. We obviously missed that, but Jake Sorrell is ahead of Sean Gregory, and looks like he looks like he's going to keep it. I mean, there's no DRS, so Sean now he's just going to basically have to get his act together and try and come back for a challenge on Jake, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Sorry, in the meantime,
Yeah,
sorry, Dan, just quickly run up to the top because Callum White has got past Josh Diggles.
Yeah, you're right. So, yes, I'm not quite sure when that happened. It may have been during the fiasco just a few moments ago.
Yeah, on the previous lap, but Callum White has got ahead and he is pulling away from Josh, so I don't know if Josh has had an issue. I don't know if he's got any damage. Yeah, he has.
Is it an end plate?
Yeah, he's lost the front left end plate.
Yeah. Phil Harris now looking to strike and
capitalise
get
on
11
that.
places up from the starting position after Josh.
Yeah, Josh
Josh
just moving aside there. I mean, wise move from Josh, to be fair. No point in challenging him. Let him through. You've got damage. You're going to be coming into the pits anyway. That's a shame. That is a real shame. So there must have been contact, obviously, with Callum and Josh. And I suspect from where we joined them, it was probably... just trying to think, actually. I think it may have been... Yeah, it must have been turn one. Yeah, it has to be. Yeah, there must have been contact there.
Yeah.
So,
hopefully light, albeit, but in the wet conditions, just an end plate's enough to...
it is. I don't know if Josh is going to come in. He's staying out. So Josh is staying out. He's trying to sort of manage it as best as he can. He did stay out the previous lap, so at the end of the previous lap he did have the damage, but he stayed out. He's staying out again now, so he's electing to stay out. The rain doesn't look like it's abating at all, though, does it, Dan?
No, it still looks just as heavy as when we kicked things off 10 laps ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the skies are clearing up terribly much either, so I think we could be within the rain for quite a few laps to come.
Let's go back now and see what action we've got going on in the grid at this moment in time. P8 Jake Sorrell at this moment is looking like he's going to try and see if he can actually challenge for that P7 place.
3-3. Yeah, they're just they're
Sean
going
Gregory
back and
obviously
forth
took
each
that
other,
place
aren't they,
back from him, didn't he? Because Jake was ahead of him. Sean Gregory clearly came back, took that place back, and now Jake's trying to get back himself. So good move certainly from Sean Gregory there. Managed to get back into that P7 position. He's going to try and see if he can maintain that and stay ahead of that.
At this point now, just coming through that chicane there, very, very slidey on the track.
I mean, this is the other thing. I mean, how long can they go on these wets? I mean, I would suspect wet conditions, wet tyres, we're probably not looking at more than about 20 odd laps. I mean, they are fresh tyres, so they should go the full distance, but I would suspect on wets probably, what, mid to low 20s, I think.
Yeah, do you know what? I don't actually know. I can't say I've started a 100% race with the wet tyre, and I don't know what the strategy would be, or the recommended strategy would be. But I mean, personally, I would have thought perhaps more than 20. I would have thought into the 30s.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose really you should treat it more like a medium compound, shouldn't you?
Yeah. As Jake comes in now and he's fitting the inters.
Is he?
At least on my screen he has, but then again the tyres that came off were inters as well, so it could be a glitch.
Yeah.
I'm going to check the detail here. No, he's got the intermediates on, so's Dylan's. That would have been Dylan's.
And Jake Sorrell's into the pits as well, and he's going on to intermediate. So we'll stay on the tyre selection on the grid there, just so we've got an idea of what they're coming in and on to. So Jake Sorrell's come out on the inters, and Dylan Platt has come out on the inters. But got to say, I mean, yeah, that racing line is looking, you can see a defined racing line, which generally means that it's dry. But that said, I don't know, it's going to be tricky. We are running with Dylan Platt at this moment in time.
Seeing some slithers of blue in the clouds above at the moment.
Yeah.
So it
could be breaking, couldn't it?
Easing soon, yeah. But it definitely looks wet out there still, very wet. As Tom comes into the pits, and so does Callum behind.
Yeah.
Running 1-2 now, the Mercedes.
Both Mercedes into the pits, going on to the Inters. So now this is Dylan's opportunity, isn't it now? He's come on early onto those Inters. This could give him a great opportunity to maybe get up into that midfield now, couldn't it?
Yeah, definitely could. There's quite a few of the cars there. There's 5 drivers. That drops Callum down to 8th now. Of a lot of guys who've decided to stay out on the wet tyre.
So I think Dylan is probably feeling a little bit better now. He's actually got Callum White ahead of him on track on those Inters. He's on older Inters, he's on 4 laps, Callum's on the fresh set. 11 seconds, not ideal, but at least you've got something to aim for now, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think not ideal for most drivers. For Dylan, it's probably a few good laps to close that down to, to a couple of seconds, I would have thought.
Callum White, though, is, he's not slow himself, so it's going to be an interesting one to see how that pans out, but it's certainly going to help him. So we've got a number of drivers coming in. We still have drivers on wets: Ryan Lear, Sean Gregory, Gary McKenny, Sean Street, Josh Diggles and Phil Harris are on the wets. I think let's have a look. Is Phil Harris? Yeah, is Phil Harris going to come in now, because he's definitely doing a bit of a power sliding a bit more.
Yeah, in he comes.
Yeah, Phil Harris is in. Now we're going to see the other 3 guys behind. Josh Diggles, yeah. Sean Street is staying out. Gary McKenny is staying out as well. Sean Gregory is staying out. Ryan Lear is staying out as well. So those guys are electing to stay on those wet compound tyres. Yeah. And I've got to say, I don't know if that's a good shout.
I don't know either. I'm going to be looking at their laps as they come round. Gary's last lap there was a 1:39.0. So we'll have to see what Callum does. What's he looking like now?
Dylan set the fastest provisional lap so far of the race, 1:34.5.
So 4 seconds.
Yeah.
A lap quicker at the moment on the Inters. They look like the tyre to be on now, that's for sure. So I think it's safe to say we can expect Sean, Gary and Sean again to all come in the pits at the end of this lap.
One would suspect, but you never can tell. I mean, they are definitely losing pace. There's no 2 ways about it at this moment, aren't they?
Yeah, I think definitely. Callum's dispatched of Ryan Lear last lap round.
Yeah, so he's got
Sean's
past.
up next.
Yeah, and I suspect those guys are going to be coming into the pits, so he will reassume that 3rd place. It's always interesting when we have the pit stops to see who comes where, because it's obviously always a little bit out of place. Normally it takes about 2 or 3 laps to settle down. And Ryan Lear definitely looking wobbly on those wets at this moment in time. And he's got Phil Harris, takes the challenge, gets past him. Well, to be fair, he's going to get past him anyway when he comes into the pits. But Sean Street, Gary McKenny, Sean Gregory, all into the pits. Ryan Lear coming in as well. So these are the final guys effectively coming in. Josh Diggles, though, still on those wets. Final man. He's coming round. He's lost a lot of pace, but he's staying out. He's staying out. Josh is electing to stay out on those wet compound tyres. So, okay.
Interesting decision from him. So, I mean, at this point, he's lost an awful lot of time and places.
But does he feel that he maybe can win out on the next tyre change? Is he thinking ahead of the game? Is he thinking, okay, if I stay out on these wets, we've probably got about another 4 laps or so before it goes dry, and then all I need to do is go onto a dry compound tyre, so I'm basically jumping everyone.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You never quite know what everyone Jeff is saying in their ear, do you? That it could be a case that this rain's going to pick up again. in a couple of laps. And
or
Josh will
equally,
have the upper
yeah,
hand.
it could be that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is, of course, another option.
But he has stopped to fix that front wing, so maybe his pit stop would have played into it. And he didn't want to lose more time in coming in for another set of tyres, and has chosen to stay out. Yeah,
that's true. Well, we'll keep an eye on that one. So, let's have a look at where we are. It's lap 15. We've had the guys come in. Conditions are
going off.
He's taken out his front wing, but fortunately he hasn't taken out his wheels.
Yeah, I thought his wheel had come off there, but luckily just the front wing in this case.
Very, very fortunate indeed, and that was into turn 5 by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think it actually might have been into 7 perhaps, going for a move on Sean, I think.
Oh, sorry, yes, you're right. Sorry, I do apologise. Yeah, I just got the wrong end of the stick there. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It was in that chicane. I thought it was looking a bit strange for turn 5, and then I was all like, but yeah, no, it was into that chicane.
Yeah.
So Jake Sorrell loses his front wing. He's going to have to come in again. And he's not going to be happy with that, but racing incident, obviously looking to try and make the move. So Tom Stevens leads the way in this race. We're on lap 15 of 70, so we're almost up to the quarter mark.
Given up.
He has. Jake Sorrell has DNF'd. So Jake Sorrell has DNF'd in the pits. Tom Stevens leads this race at this moment in time. His teammate Callum White is in P2, but look at that. P3, what a fantastic run there.
Oh, Josh has gone too.
Oh no! Where was that?
I don't know. I think through 5 maybe. Tony Foster just going through there. The yellows were cleared after he passed through.
Oh my goodness me. Well, we've lost quite a number of drivers. I said this was going to be one of those races that's going to be remembered, and I suspect it will do. We're only on lap 16 and 70, not quite, well, nearly reaching the quarter mark. And we've already got Josh Diggles in the Haas, Jake Sorrell in the Ferrari, Jamie Good in the Racing Point, Adrian Rich in the Red Bull, Cameron Widdowson in the Renault, and Matt Goodyear in the second Racing Point out of this race. So 6 drivers out, 9 drivers remaining, and 3/4 of the race still to run. This is going to be a nail biter. Really is. So Phil Harris there, he's in that P3 place. Dylan Platt though, look at that, he's got up into 4th place.
When did that happen? he's very impressive.
Well, I mean, it was inspired, I've got to say, for him to come in and go on to those intermediates as early as he did, but it worked. He got the result.
Yeah, definitely. Great strategy choice.
So fantastic run there from Dylan Platt, pushing out, and we've seen him doing some fast laps. Tom Stevens now setting the provisional fastest lap of the race so far. So Dylan Platt is in 4th. Sean Street in the Racing Point is in 5. Gary McKenny is in 6. Good old sorry Gary, he stays in there, and he's really putting up a great show this evening in P6. Sean Gregory, hasn't quite gone the way he wanted, but still he can be quite happy with that P7 place as it stands at this moment in time, and I'm sure he will progress. He's got Ryan Lear in the Alfa Romeo is behind him, and in P9 at this moment in time is Tony Foster, but in the points still, isn't he?
He is. He's a fighter, still there.
2 championship points as it stands at this moment in time, but we'll see how that works out. But Tony hanging on in there. So what are we going to do? This rain it's not stopping. I'm trying to figure out whether it's actually dying down. It's not dying down. It's not as heavy as it was, but I'm still not quite seeing the blue in that sky yet, Dan. Not enough to think it's going to go dry again.
No, I think earlier on, looking at some of the drivers' cameras up through sector 2, you're seeing a bit of blue in the sky, but as you said, it's slowly easing off, but not not anything drastic. It's definitely not drying.
It could still go either way, really, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could.
It really could. So let's have a look at where these guys sit at this moment in time. Tom Steve, I mean, this is phenomenal. He's 27 seconds ahead of his teammate in second place.
He just keeps driving away, doesn't he?
I mean, he's done this all through. I mean, he really has. I mean, end of lap 1, he was 3 seconds ahead. End of lap 12, I think he was something like, God, I can't remember now, but he'd sort of grown on that. End of lap 18, he's 27 seconds ahead of his teammate. I mean, at this rate, he's going to be lapping second place.
Yeah. Yeah, he's almost averaging 2 seconds a lap at this point.
Absolutely fantastic. I mean, obviously Tom relishing these wet conditions, because
he's loving it.
He wouldn't be putting in that performance if he wasn't. So yeah, he's looking solid at this moment in time. I don't know, has he actually picked up any? I don't think I've seen any points being awarded to the drivers for exceeding track limits. I don't think anyone's picked up any points, have they?
No, the only one to get 3 seconds was Josh Diggles.
Wow.
For a warning, and so far that's it.
Well, that is absolutely amazing, especially considering these conditions. Also, no safety car, because I was sort of pretty much edging on wet start safety car within probably the first, opening laps, 5 or 6 laps, but no safety car either. So the guys have really been able to pull away, and it's really worked for Tom, because had there been a safety car, then it wouldn't have been what we'd be looking at now, would it?
No, certainly not. It'd be interesting to see if we do get a safety car, how the race would resume, if we would see Tom just drive off with it again, or if Callum would stick with him. Judging by the pace he's showing now, I don't think he would.
I don't think he would either, because he is totally dominating. I mean, we know that obviously Tom is a great driver, and we certainly saw him dominate on the opening of the season. Sort of fell a little bit by the wayside, but yeah, this is definitely Tom back on 110% form, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's why we're not seeing him relax into this race. He just keeps on driving and driving and driving, because I think he wants to prove that he's still got what it takes. Yeah. Which he doesn't need to do. I don't think any of us have ever questioned his ability.
No, I don't think anyone would question it.
No, I don't think he can do it.
Yeah.
But that's just the fighter he is.
No, totally agree. He really is. But I've got to say, I mean, Dylan Platt, I mean, obviously I didn't know the form of the guys, majority of the guys, before the start of the season. But he really has, and is dominating this championship for this opening season. Phenomenal driver. I mean, he really is, isn't he?
Yeah. He's not old either, is he? He's in the teens.
He is, he's mid-teens.
He's a young chap. He's an up-and-comer, that's for sure.
Yeah, he got given basically a joker card for the season 1, because we normally look for the age limit of 20, but he slipped through, as he was a driver with Synergy, and that's one of our sister leagues. Always happy to give a shout out to Synergy. For those of you who are unfamiliar with it, that's Synergy PWR.
God, I haven't heard that in a while.
People's World Racing. Again, fantastic group of guys, and if you're interested in racing and you're in your teens and you want to sort of start racing, then please, by all means, do approach them. They have Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and that's Synergy PWR. I'll say it in somewhat of a normal voice, in case you didn't pick up my dulcet tones earlier. So by all means, do give them a shout. If you're 20 plus, then forget about those people I just mentioned. Amateurs. We don't want to know them.
Children.
Then give us a shout here at F1 tonight. So we do have a seat vacant at this moment in time. We do have a testing session coming up this weekend. So if you are...
Dylan's lost
my goodness me! Dylan's lost it. He's lost it.
His wing is still intact though.
He does, and that was as he was coming into turn, well, out of turn, into turn 12, out of 11, down towards 12. Yeah, he's not going to be too happy with that one, is he? But yeah, at least he's in one piece, isn't he?
Yeah, still keeps P4, and I think as this race has gone for him so far, I think he'll still be quite happy with keeping that position.
Yeah, I think he will. It could have been all too different, but it just, it reminds us the conditions here are still somewhat not quite treacherous, but let's say scary.
Yeah, it's not something to take for granted. It's still wet out there, and as we've seen with Dylan there, it's still very, very easy to lose the back end if you push it too hard. Yeah,
if you're not careful. No, absolutely, totally agree on that one. Sean Street behind him at this moment in time in that racing point, trying to get through. Gary McKenny in a McLaren is in P6. Sean Gregory, he's got a bit stuck, hasn't he, in that P7? He's just not able to sort of move up. He's a little bit out in the wild woolies there.
He's not quite gaining. Well, he is. He's floating around that 9 to 10 second mark behind Gary, but he's not. Neither is he falling into the grasps of Ryan behind, though. In no man's land a little bit at the moment. But
yeah, he is. I don't think that's quite what he was looking to do, but he didn't. I mean, he got up, obviously, 8 positions with Phil Harris, who he started with at the back. But Phil Harris, I think, able to capitalise a little bit more. Sean Gregory just didn't work for him because he stayed out on those wets, didn't he? That was a mysterious call there.
Too long, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what's cost him, to be
only
perfectly honest.
But you can see the effect it's had on his race.
But it's the net effect it has, isn't it? I mean, this is the thing. Now, the interesting one here is how long can those inters go?
Definitely not as long as the wets, I wouldn't have thought.
I wouldn't have thought so. So again, I will be going for my previous recommendation on the wets, but I would suspect you're probably going to be looking around about sort of 20 to mid-20s, depending on how hard you're pushing them. That does mean that Dylan is going to have to pit in earlier than these guys. Now, I've got to say, these conditions don't look like they're changing, but we're looking potentially at this moment in time for probably about another 6 to, say, 7 to 10 laps on those inters. That weather condition could still go either way in that lap time, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, just watching Dylan there through 5 and into 6, there's definitely some more blue patches opening up in the clouds. So we could see it ease up a bit, 5 to 10 laps, maybe. But as you said, Dylan's definitely going to be one of the first to come in and either, hopefully, not have to make the choice to go on the inters and then it dry up for him.
That's your nightmare scenario, isn't it, as a driver?
Yeah,
is that you're in that position where you don't know whether it's going to go dry or whether it's going to go wetter, and that means you have to stick to the tyre compound you're on. That would be worst case scenario for Dylan at this moment in time, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there's no doubt he's mulling that over in his head now, is what he's going to do when it perhaps does dry up. Yeah.
It's always a risk to take, certainly, when you're going from wet conditions to a dry compound tyre and dry conditions, and when you come in. You can make inspired choices. We've seen that in the real world. And one particular scenario jumps to mind was with our current 6 times world champion. And I'm just trying to remember which track it was, actually. Oh, my God. It was 2 years ago. I think it was 17, where he made an inspired choice. Everyone was questioning why he came in and went onto the dries, and he actually won the race. So anyone out there who's watching the stream who can answer my question.
Was it Germany, was it?
I think it was. I was thinking either Silverstone or Germany, but it was round about that sort of time. I think it actually, now that you mentioned Germany, I think it could well have been, actually. Yeah, I think it could well have been. Or it might, I don't know, I can't remember. But anyway, anyone listening there, if Adrian's dad is watching the stream, I know that he often likes to correct Adrian, and quite rightly so, sir, I've got to say. But if you are out there, please do put a little comment in the YouTube comments box, because my dear colleague Dan is, I believe, got eyes on it, so hopefully you'll pick that up. Am I correct in saying that, Dan, or am I just dropping you in it?
No, you're not. You're right, I'm watching. Okay, well here we go. Sorry, ages ago now actually, I've missed that, but Phil Harris came up and said that Matt was, he drove in Australia and Bahrain, so he has driven with us before.
He has, just, I thought so, yeah. That's what I thought.
And many people happy to see you back in the com box, Eddie.
Oh, thank you very much.
Plenty of blue hearts in the comments.
Thank
and
you.
Red ones.
Thank you very much, everyone. I really, really appreciate your support. It really does mean a lot to me. If anyone that's willing to listen to me drone on for 2.5 hours and actually think that it's good, then you get my full support, gotta say. Yeah. I'll let you know when I'm running for Parliament. So, we are now on board with Dylan Platt again. We've been with him for a bit of a while, but we're trying to sort of see really what's going on and discussing what's happening in this field. We've lost 6 drivers, we're down to 9. We're on lap 25 of 70. We are a third of the way through this race. And in case you didn't know where you are, let me remind you, this is F1 Tonight, UK Season 1, Round 12, and we are here at the Hugaroring, surprisingly named after the country that this GP is for, Hungary. That's a bit of a surprise, isn't it? Hugaroring, Hungary. Never put those two together.
Original.
Yeah, very original. So, yeah, very challenging track under normal conditions, but under wet conditions, well, we can see the result reflected in those DNFs there that we've got. But remaining and fighting out, Tony Foster is in P9. But correct me if I'm wrong, what is that silver car behind him? Yes, it is Tom Stevens. And I do believe that I said earlier, if Tom goes this way, he's then going to end up lapping second place. Well, we're on lap 26, and he's lining himself up to lap 9th already.
He is. Yep. It won't be long before he passes him, and then I'm sure it'll be Ryan not long after that. So, it's just incredible how he's managing these conditions.
It's getting Tony Foster, discretion the better part of valor there from the Ferrari driver. No, I'll tell you what, let me just move over and you just go for it, because this is an unstoppable machine here that we've got in that Mercedes. And, well, this is somewhat esports sim world mirroring real world, really, isn't it? With the dominance of these Mercedes here at this race.
Yeah, I mean, Phil Harris, if it was real world, working absolute wonders in the Williams.
Well, yeah, has to be said.
P3.
Has to be said. I mean, just for those of you that are sitting there scratching your heads thinking, what is a Williams doing in P3? Let me explain. Obviously, under sim conditions, you do have the option to actually run the cars simulating their real world counterparts, or you have the option to make all the cars equal. And for F1 Tonight, we've gone with the option to keep all cars equal. So that is certainly the option we're running with in Season 1. But Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe in the Discord there has been some discussion as to whether we should actually change that for Season 2 and simulate the real world cars.
It has, yeah. Yeah, it's certainly, I don't know if it might say it's a controversial topic, but it's definitely, I mean, I think actually, yeah, you could say that, because I'm not sure how much the likes of Phil Harris would be happy driving a realistic Williams. I don't think he would be in P3, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, and this is the thing, ultimately, at the end of the day, is how do you actually work that? And I know sort of around that, some of the drivers have been discussing, I suppose, what one could best term a handicap system as well.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we've tried it over at Synergy with the short-lived Classic Championship, putting the likes of Tom Stevens in the very old 1970s Lotus, because obviously being he's the quickest, and the slower guys in the likes of the 2010 Red Bull. And I mean, obviously in that example, the Lotus was just so far off the pace, it didn't really work. It might work better in modern Formula One cars, but still, it can hinder them quite a bit more than you'd expect.
Yeah, I've got to say, I mean, I suppose my input into that is that I can't see it working. I don't think it's fair, because if we're going to simulate real world F1, then ultimately, I've got to say it, the fastest drivers pretty much go to the fastest teams.
Yeah, you're right.
So, from that point of view, you wouldn't really be simulating. I don't think you're going to be gaining anything from it. It's an interesting thought, I've got to say, and if any of you out there listening want to pass comment on it, then please feel free, write in the comments there on the YouTube. We're more than happy to accept, because ultimately we are doing this not just for the drivers for enjoyment, but obviously for the enjoyment of you people out there. So what do you think? Do you think we should stick with all cars being equal for Season 2, or should we simulate the real world cars in Season 2? And if we do simulate the real world cars in Season 2, should there be a handicap system where the faster drivers, or the more, let's say, the better drivers, actually are handicapped by going into the not so fast cars? What do you think? Let us know. Please, please, please do put your comments in there. So Phil Harris at this moment in time is in P3. I think he's actually picked up a penalty point from what I was looking at there.
One, yeah, he did.
Oh, Tom Stevens goes continually quicker. Yeah, 130.985. So yeah, he's definitely hammering it through now. Right,
the gap seems to be stabilising a little bit at this point, hovering around the 137.6s.
It is. It's pretty much sort of levelled out. Everyone's pretty much staying where they are. Now, we are coming rapidly to crunch time for Dylan Platt, and I've got to say, he's looking a little bit wobbly at this moment in time.
Took the words from my mouth. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Just coming out of 11 there, he was ran a bit wide after a bit of a twitch.
Now, he's not going to be able to run too much longer on those tyres. He's not coming in yet. I suspect he's probably going to come in at the end of the next lap. But let's have a look at these weather conditions. It's not drying up, and it's not getting any wetter. So it's definitely still intermediate country. What is he going to do? What choice is he going to make? Because he's looking quite gingerly into turn 1 there. Let's have a look how he attacks turn 2 and 3. But I really, looking at this, he's, to my eye, he's losing pace.
Yeah, he's not going to get a free pit stop because he's not far enough ahead of Sean. Nor would he really probably want to pit in case the conditions do change. I think if I was him, I mean, the benefit of the drivers right now is they've got Jeff being able to say what the weather's going to do, which we can't hear.
Yeah.
So he could know it's not going to improve, in which case he can maybe take the pit stop comfortably, knowing it's the right thing to do. But if it's going to dry up, I think I would just try and stretch it out just to the point, breaking point of the tyres, if you like.
Yeah, then you've got to watch that pit window when you're going to lose out, because I suspect the pit here is probably going to be not too bad, actually. It's probably going to be around about sort of 18 seconds or thereabouts.
It's not a long one here.
No, so I mean, on that basis, you've got to be careful as to how you're actually going to do it, because if you say lose 9-10 seconds, that's not good, but you can get away with it. You start losing any more than that, it's going to impact on your race position.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's still got the tyres on his side at the moment. He's pulling away from Sean behind him. I don't think he's gaining an awful lot on Phil Harris up in front.
He is gaining a little bit on him. He's gained a couple of tenths. So he is starting to gain a little bit more on him. Maybe he's just trying to sort of, I suppose he's managed those tyres. Maybe he's starting to open it up a bit more, get that downforce working. Because obviously, higher speed you've got, the more downforce, in theory, you should have, depending on your setup. So maybe he's just opening up the valves a bit more. I just want to have a look how he's doing on his ERS. His ERS is actually...
It's full at the moment. He's not even using it by the looks of it.
He's not been using it there, so it's not a question of that. And let's see how that breaks down. He was 17.9 behind Phil Harris. He's now 17.4, coming down 2. So it looks to me like he has opened it up. So he's clearly using that ERS, trying to close down that gap.
Still comfortable, for sure, it looks like. I think one element we can maybe use to judge the track conditions here is just Tom's continual fastest laps. Perhaps it is getting drier out there.
I don't know. I mean, Tom now already nearly 49 seconds ahead of second place.
It's either he's finding something no one else can, or maybe it is perhaps drying up a little bit. But
the thing is, though, you look onto sort of the driver view there, you can still see it's definitely raining. It isn't slowing down in any way, shape or form. So on that basis, I think and look at that. It's just as you progressively lay down the power out of one, going down towards two. But just as you put your foot down, that's when he's getting that wobble, isn't it? When he's just eking that last bit out of that throttle. Lovely overhead view.
That's the dangerous part.
As he comes into
throttle
4.
down in the wet.
Well, nicely done into 4. I hope we can keep this overhead round 5, because that's a lovely angle there. And if you're watching Cody's, then I'll tell you it would be nice if you could actually have more than 2 cameras. A spectator, I would love you to death. I'd put you on my Christmas list.
That would be lovely, wouldn't it, actually? I've been able to look behind as well from the TV pod view. You used to be able to do that in the last game.
Yeah,
you can't
18
do that anymore.
You could do. Yeah, 18 you could do. 19, no rear view camera.
That was a lovely camera shot as well when there was a battle going on, looking behind, seeing how close they were.
Definitely got my vote on that one. Well, Dylan is staying out there. He's eking out as much as he can, but these tyres now have done 23 laps. I've got to say, I think they're starting to reach. Maybe he's got the final wind, because you do get that with some tyres, don't you, where you've got a final wind before they suddenly drop off, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, when they do start to go, it tends to happen quite quickly.
Somewhat rapidly.
So it's catching it at the right moment, Yeah.
Well, Dylan is eking that out. I mean, it's 17.2 seconds now off the back of Phil Harris. But I've got to say, Phil Harris, he's playing a great race, isn't he? I mean, Tom Stevens, phenomenal. Phil Harris, well, great. It's got to be said.
Yeah,
really
you can't argue with that. Definitely not.
I mean,
11 places up.
Yeah, started at the back of the grid in P14. 11 places, as Dan rightly says there, up to P3, and he is closing down on the back of Callum White. It's slow but sure, but he's definitely closing down on him.
Yeah, he's on some of the freshest tyres out there at the moment. 19 laps old.
Yeah.
The likes of Callum and Tom in front are on 20 and 21 laps old.
So it does give him an advantage there. I mean, if we can maintain, obviously, these wet conditions, then Phil Harris could potentially, I mean, what do you do here? Under 3 seconds off the back, Phil's got to be thinking of, should he come in and go for an undercut? Or is he going to stay out and hope that he can, lay down the power if those guys ahead of him come in and do an overcut? That's got to be going through his head now, surely.
Yeah, definitely. It's a case of if it's not going to dry up, then for sure he can definitely try and perform an undercut on Callum definitely, and see what he can put out of the bag. It's the case of if it's going to dry up, it's a nightmare scenario for anyone that wants to pit about now.
Yeah,
like Dylan down in 4th.
It's not ideal. We're only seeing a 6-lap difference in the tyres at this moment in time on the intermediates, from Dylan on 25, and then Ryan Lear, Sean Gregory, Gary McKenny, Sean Street on 19 laps. So there is that gap there. The conditions certainly don't look as if they're going to be drying up. So I suspect that Phil Harris is definitely going to have that going through his mind as to what he actually does. And indeed, how deep they can actually go. Because as we can see here from Dylan, he's on his 25th lap. We saw a bit of a wobble from him a few laps ago. We're seeing it again here, aren't we? Look at this round 12. It's just, they're definitely on their way, but he's still holding it out there.
Yeah, he's keeping it on the track. And he's very, very slowly, like you said. He's just closing on to Phil, but not by any great speeds.
No, he's probably sort of like, you know, he's taking a few tenths here and there, but then sort of like it's about half a tenth on probably on the last lap, you know, and he is eking it out, but I don't know if he's going to have enough to actually close down in any sort of major way. But this is going to be really tricky for these guys.
Sean Gregory
now.
is pitting.
He is.
I presume onto another set of inters.
Let's go with Sean Gregory. He's on 20 lap old inters. What's he going to go on to? He's into the pits. Yeah, he's on to another set of inters.
That's why colourblind was coming to effect. I thought he was going into softs for a second.
No, I'll tell you what, Dan,
softs?
Look at the colour of the tyre that's coming off and then compare it to the tyre going on. That's the one to go.
Yeah, but already being colourblind just means they look quite similar.
Oh, bugger.
They're the wrong colours.
They're the wrong bloody colours. What are you doing?
In colourblind mode.
I think there might be a feature for that, actually, on the Xbox. I'm not too sure.
Not a lot of games have it nowadays, actually, but I don't know if Formula 1 does.
I don't know. It's worth looking into. Right.
Yeah.
So, Sean Gregory, first man into pits, onto a fresh set of inters. Dylan Platt starting his 26th lap, 27th lap, sorry. Staying on those inters. Now, this is going to be very... Now, we do know that Dylan can obviously... He is phenomenal at managing his tyres, isn't he?
Yeah, he definitely is. And I'd have to say that given Sean's come in, it would maybe be a sign for us commentators that it's maybe not going to dry up, at least not anytime soon.
No, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. He's had to make the call. Coming on lap 20, we've got drivers out there on far older on tyres.
Yeah.
So that would, you know, lead you to believe that it isn't going to dry up, that it's going to pretty much stay as it is. We are now on lap 36 of 70. We have reached the halfway mark, and you are watching F1 tonight, UK.
Thank you, Batman.
It's okay, Robin.
F1 tonight.
From the heavy streets of Gotham, we bring you F1 tonight, UK.
Could do a Batman theme night. I think our throats wouldn't really last the distance.
Yeah, no, probably not. Mine would definitely give way, undoubtedly. So, as I say, lap 36 of 70, halfway mark, 9 drivers remaining. It's pretty much settled down. And Dylan Platt, well, he is fighting his way through. Fair play. He had a horrendous start. Really did not go at all well for him. Phil Harris, though, he's come up from 14 to 3rd place. He is going to be a happy man if he can maintain that place and finish on the podium. But he does have the potential, doesn't he, to take that 2nd place from Callum White, I've got to say.
Yeah, certainly does. I don't know if I was in his position, if I would consider pitting at this point, given we've perhaps worked out it's not going to stop raining.
Yeah.
Is it maybe worth just...
Well, it's 3 seconds. He can't quite get beyond that 3-second gap to Callum White. And I've got to say, if I was sitting there, I'd think, yeah, okay, let me do the pit. Let me get on a fresh set. I've got the feel of this track. I've got the rhythm of it. I know what I'm doing on these inters. Let's see if I can lay down a blasting lap and get ahead of that Mercedes ahead of me. I think now is the time. If he's going to make that call, it's the time to do it.
I think you're right.
Callum White comes round, he doesn't go in. Phil Harris stays out as well, so he's still feeling confident. Maybe he's thinking overcut, I don't know, but...
maybe.
Tom Stevens
getting his first penalty of the night.
Yeah, just seen that there. He is 46 seconds, as good as ahead of his teammate. And we're only halfway through the race. So on that prediction, that would put him 1 minute 30 at the end of the race.
Can you imagine?
So he might not overtake second place, but he's certainly going to overtake, I think, fourth.
Has he passed? He's passed Sean Gregory and Ryan, has he?
He has passed. Yes, he must have passed Sean Gregory.
Yeah.
He hasn't passed Ryan yet.
So yeah, no, Gary's next up. Yeah, he's passed Ryan as well.
Oh, he has.
So Gary's next.
Yeah. So Gary's his next target. My goodness me. Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's staying out there. He's on 26 laps. Callum White now is coming round out of the second sector into the third sector. He's got Phil Harris just under that 3 seconds behind him, but he has got Tony Foster between them at this moment in time, so it could be the back markers that are holding him off at this moment. Callum White coming down round turn 12 now into that third and final sector, round 13.
And Sean Gregory actually now within a second of Ryan Lee ahead, so we can have a battle coming up.
Oh my goodness, yeah,
very
7
soon.
tenths as they're coming round 2 into 3. Indeed, Sean Gregory, he's got a little bit stuck, as we were commenting earlier, in a bit of a no man's land. It's just the luck of the draw, the way it pans out sometimes in a race. But now he is closing down on Ryan Lear as they're coming round 5
pressure rubber
into 6. Well, definitely, yeah, definitely. As you say, that fresh rubber, it is 3 laps against 23 laps, so he should have that better grip.
He puts Ryan under some pressure now, filling his wing mirrors with blue.
Yes,
indeed. Come round 11. Dropped off the back of him a little bit there through the S's, sector 2.
Tom Stevens setting another fastest provisional lap, 1:30.4.
Just no stopping him, is there?
There is no stopping him. This man, he's got something to prove here tonight at this Hugaroring track, that's for sure. We are on board with Sean Gregory at this moment in time, closing down on Ryan Lear. They're coming down the start-finish straight. Has he got enough legs? Is he going to try and make a late break down into turn 1? No, he's backing off there, staying behind. Closing down that gap. 5 tenths now, that gap. This is where we joined him previously, so he's taken 2 tenths out of Ryan on that previous lap. But it's so tricky. I mean, in dry conditions, it's tricky enough. In these, wet conditions, it's doubly so, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. That dirty air makes it even harder, along with the wet track, to stick with them for a long period of time, especially through sector 2, which is where we saw him back off a little bit. As Ryan looks a little bit out of shape through 6 into 7.
Definitely not comfortable through that chicane, and it's put him out of time now for the following 8, 9.
Oh, Sean just... he gets alongside him into 11.
Tress, he can make it stick now. This is where it's going to work. Yes, he's got it. Open up that ERS. Get it into 12. Good move there from Sean Gregory in a Toro Rosso. Takes that P7 place from Ryan Lear. But Ryan's not going to let it go easily. He's going to challenge him back into 1, isn't he?
Oh yeah, definitely. You can see him fighting him back into 12, but Sean just had the fresher rubber and the inside line, and it's not an awful lot he could have done, but coming back down to 1 now. Not looking to make the move. I think, to be honest, unless Sean makes a mistake, Ryan might just follow him round now with the older tyres.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think
but
if he was
Sean
going to make...
go wide.
Oh, he does go wide into 2.
As Phil Harris now takes P2 from Callum White, who pits.
Yeah, Callum White is into the pits, so Phil Harris will assume that second place. John Street not quite there. Callum White coming out on a fresh set of inters.
And Tom Stevens, of course, already pitted.
Yeah, he has. No, he hasn't. Oh, sorry, Tom Stevens has already pitted. So, yeah, sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. Sorry, I thought it was about Phil. Yeah, so Tom's already pitted. That's why that gap's come down to 32 seconds to Phil Harris. who's currently in second place. So both Mercedes have pitted. Phil Harris now. Now this is important for Phil Harris. He's not going to have... Has he got? Actually, he has. Look at this. 18.2 seconds. He could potentially maintain that second place.
He could.
Oh, I don't know. He's dropped us under 18 seconds now.
I think, do you know what? He's got to bite the bullet this lap, I think, if he wants to fight for P2.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a tough one to call. Can he? He's not going to be going any faster on 27 old lap tyres than Callum White on the zeros, but he will close down that gap. I think it will be probably round about a second and a half. That gap that he will have, but he's staying out. Oh my goodness me, Phil! I don't know if that's a good choice.
I mean, if it does dry up, and there is a bit, if you look down that start-finish straight now from Phil's camera, there's a blue peeking through.
Yeah.
But if it dries up, Phil will have made the perfect call.
I don't know.
Can his tyres survive?
I don't know. I don't think that there's enough blue to warrant going on to a set of softs for the next lap. I've got to say, I think these conditions are going to stay probably until the end of this race. I think we're going to see wet conditions till the end.
Yeah, it's looking like it, isn't it?
I'll be happily proven wrong, but I just think that Phil, I think he's given away an opportunity there. That gap now is 17.3. He's lost 6/10. You know, and he hasn't even got, you know, well, nearly, he's halfway around the track now. But he's already lost 6/10 on Callum White from the previous lap. Yeah,
you're right. He's definitely not quicker by any means, but if he can hold out, if anything's going to change.
Yeah, it's such a difficult choice to make, though, isn't it? It really is. I mean, you're on the edge of your seat with the driving anyway, let alone taking into account the strategy. And this is another thing that I would like to point out to people is that, you know, these drivers, they don't have a team of people telling them the strategy. They have an AI called Jeff, basically. And Jeff can get it seriously wrong. It's not unknown, is it? Oh, and he's decided to come in. At last minute, he's decided to come in.
Done it.
Yeah, he's come in.
Right now through 12 into 13.
I think he's going to fall further behind Callum White. He was 3 seconds. I think he's going to be in the 4+ window now.
You're right, he's not even stopped yet, and Callum's already come around onto the start-finish straight now.
Yeah, so Callum on the start-finish straight. He's going to be taking that place.
But that Williams garage is
now
right in the pits, so
he's coming out of the pits. He's going to be about 4 or 5 seconds behind him.
2.9 as it stands, 3.3.
Wait till the next one.
I don't think it's as big as 5.
I don't know. I think it might be. We'll see. It's definitely more than it was. I mean, it's 3.6, 3.4 seconds as it stands on the clock at this moment in time.
He's definitely dropped off though, like you said. Dylan Platt now 15.5 seconds behind, so he's definitely made a move.
3.8.
29.5 now from Tom.
Oh my goodness, so he's broken the 130 mark. Tom Stevens has got into the 129s.
How can he keep going faster? Surely there's a limit to if it's not drying up.
I don't know. I think if you get into the flow and you get that racing line and you consistently hitting the same line and you're just making minor adjustments here, there.
Yeah.
That's where, you know, that's where it makes a difference.
Hot laps at this point, isn't it? It's just time trial for him now.
Pretty much. It's a never-ending time trial. Yeah. I wonder if that's how he practices. Do you reckon he goes on time trial and just goes, right, okay, I've got Hugaroring, I'm going to do 70 laps on time trial?
Maybe. The only issue with that is you don't get any tyre wear, so it's hard to know when your tyres are going to fall off. But yeah, there's definitely nothing wrong with it. Good practice.
Yeah, that's true. It is ideal conditions, and as you quite rightly say, you don't get any tyre wear. Which, to be brutally honest, had actually slipped my mind when I said that. So, Phil Harris is in that 3rd place. He has lost time. Not a horrendous amount of time. It's about a 10th. He was thereabouts anyway. He seems to be gaining that back now. Did he think maybe, I'll be on a fresher set of tyres to challenge? Was he managing that gap maybe? I don't know. Difficult to say. Right, let's have a quick look through the board as it stands at this moment in time. We're on lap 44 of 70. This is F1 Tonight, UK. And this is season 1, round 12, the Hungarian Grand Prix here at the Hugaroring. It has been one of those, well, truly classic races, I think, because we started in incredibly wet conditions, drivers out on the wets, and we saw the drivers then go on to the intermediates, but it hasn't been fun for a number of these drivers. 6 drivers DNFing: Josh Diggles for Haas, Jake Sorrell for Ferrari, Jamie Good for Racing Point, Adrian Rich for Red Bull, Cameron Widdowson for Renault, and Matt Goodyear for Haas. All those drivers out. That leaves us with 9 drivers, and Tony Foster in the Ferrari. He is currently running in P9, and he's going to be happy with that. He's going to pick up 2 points. He maintains that, so I don't think he's going to be too miffed on that score. Then we have Ryan Leah, and he's in that P8 position. Yeah, can't see Ryan progressing a lot from there unless something major happens ahead of him. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Dan.
Yeah, I think he's you're right. 8th place might be unless there is an accident in front, it could be a place where he might stay for the rest of this race. It just seems like the Alfa Romeo hasn't looked very quick today.
No.
Or very happy here at least anyway. No doubt
Ryan
about
Leah,
Dylan's performance in qualifying was phenomenal as usual, but
yeah, Ryan Leah has definitely been the least comfortable of the Alfa drivers, and Dylan Platt, we commented it on earlier, and I think we pretty much putting it on to setup. They just weren't expecting those wet conditions.
Yeah, I think that's it.
The setup just wasn't really geared up for it.
Yellow flag in sector 2. Not sure who that is for.
Don't know.
Only Foster perhaps, who's looking a bit slow out of 6. But I'm going to call it now, Eddie. It's going to dry up.
It's going to dry up?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going on board.
I know the only reason I'm saying that is because I'm looking down the start-finish straight.
I don't think so.
It's looking too blue.
I don't think so.
I think it's going to stop raining at lap 57.
Okay. That's a pint on that one.
All right, sounds good. just looking at the comments on the YouTube stream here, Jonathan Donkel's come on.
Oh, fantastic.
And pointed out that he's corrected himself on saying Toro Rosso won't change, but the Red Bull's not finishing here could mean a change in the constructors. And I think that'll put Force India up a place with Sean still running P5 at 10 points.
Yeah, it could well
on to 50 ahead of Red Bull's 47, so that'll put them up to P7 in the constructors at the moment.
It's going to be an interesting one. So Ryan Leah, he's in that P8 position. Sean Gregory in the Toro Rosso. Well, yeah, phenomenal start, but then it just sort of didn't happen, did it? It just sort of stuck.
Kind of tapered off.
Yeah. I mean, great race, certainly. I mean, he's going to be getting some valuable points, but I don't think he's going to be happy with that result, is he?
No, it's not. It's not typical of Sean's driving style, where he can start at the back. I think the fact of it being wet has hindered him a little bit today, because normally with a dry race, he'll start on the harder tyre, gain all the places just through overtakes and then the pit stops, and end up, in the top 5. But I think with it being wet and tyre strategy not really playing into it, it's kind of slowed him down a bit today.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree on that one, actually.
Not to discount his performance, 8 places from the back of the grid, still a fantastic drive.
Oh, definitely.
But it's I think hindered his normal progression through the field.
Yeah.
With it being wet today.
I'm inclined to agree with you there. Yeah, I don't think it's been the race that he would have liked it to have been. I think he just got caught basically in one of those sort of no man land situations that do happen from time to time in a race, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just the luck of the draw, so to speak. P6, Gary McKenny though, he's going to be happy with that, isn't he? I mean, he did a fantastic qualifying. I don't know what Adrian's predictions were when he was looking at his crystal ball.
Just going there now, actually, just to see what we're looking at. Yeah, here we go. Gary predicted race 4th, so not too far off. And I mean, like you say, I think he'll be chuffed with that. Up a place from 7th on the grids.
Yeah.
Getting a penalty there, just running wide out of 3, but not too much of an issue with 11 seconds to Sean behind. I think he won't be too worried.
No, I don't think so. If he picks up a couple more, then fair enough. But I think just the one, he's going to be okay. So that's Gary McKenny there in that P6 position. And then, well, Sean Street. What can one say? We were commenting during the qualifying that Sean was a guy to watch for future seasons. He's not consistent at this moment in time, is he, Sean? He's either sort of doing really well or really not doing very well at all. He's not quite broken that consistency thing, has he?
Yeah, it's a bit up and down. 3 DNFs in the 5 Grand Prix he's attended this season so far. But a 6th last time out and a 5th today. I think he'll be pleased with that if he can keep that spot.
Yeah, definitely. And it is a progression because, again, you know, these guys, as competent as they are in online and multiplayer racing, it is a different situation when you come on to this track and you're doing an 100% race, isn't it? And Dan, I mean, you're an ideal person to speak on that because you've done it.
Yeah, that's right.
What are your thoughts on that, from switching to, you know, normal sort of multiplayer, you know, quarter races, 20, 25 laps, maybe a half race, and then going 100%? What's the difference, in your opinion?
You realise how unfit you are. My back's often killing me after a race. I don't know if that's my chair or just me.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely, you do that first race and you realise just how fit the actual real drivers have got to be, because I'm sweating buckets. My hands are killing me by the end of the race. My arms are killing me.
Yeah.
Even driving, you know, not getting any G-forces or any stress on your body. Just sat there driving around a track, pushing as hard as you can for 70 laps. It takes it out of you.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair comment to make, because if that's how you feel, you know, sitting on a sim chair in your front room, in front of your TV, with all your worldly goods around you, how does that guy feel in the real world F1? As you quite rightly say, you know, when you're pulling the G's, and not only that, the weather conditions as well. You can control the temperature in your front room. You know, you can't control the temperature when you're, say, at Singapore.
Yeah, baking hot, really humid.
So, you know, very, very different, but also a lot of similarities there. So, I mean, could you say then, I found that quite interesting that you said a good workout. Would you say that sim racing, 100% race, is a good workout?
I think so. You certainly lose a lot of, I think you'd lose some weight in body sweat, that's for sure, at least I do.
Well, there you go. For those of you that are looking for a diet which you will enjoy, let me recommend the F1 Tonight diet. It's quite simple. You get a sim racing setup, you join the club, you go for the races, you do 100% races, and, you know, it actually probably costs a lot less than the gym would over the course of the year, I would have thought.
Yeah, you're right.
So, for those of you wishing to get fit, healthy, get those muscles back, go for the F1 Tonight workout. Remember that. So,
just speaking about driving these races for, actually in the league, doing 100% for the first time as well. I don't know about the other drivers, but it's often, you get peaks and troughs in performance, I find, at least for me. The first 20 laps, you're gunning for it, you know, you're pushing really hard. Then you get to the middle of the race and it's kind of like, oh, I've got ages to go. And you're mulling through, especially if you're not fighting anybody. You know, you're just driving around the track and, you know, you're kind of at that halfway point. But at this point, lap 50, the last 20 laps, you're getting back into it. You know, you're almost at the end. You
get a second wind.
Exactly, yeah. You get that kind of fight back. You're at the end of your endurance, your marathon, if you like. You're getting towards the finish line. You start to sprint a bit harder, and so I think we might see some.
Right. I've got to say, I think you're right, because if you compare, and ultimately at the end of the day, what can we compare to? We can only compare to the real world. And it's not uncommon that you see in the middle of the race drivers sort of settle down. And in my opinion, when a driver settles down, that means that he's got into a relaxed sort of mode, and that's because he's basically feeling it.
Yeah.
So it does happen, but the guys that shine out, the ones that stand out from that, are the ones that can keep working through it, aren't they? And again, I've got to say, I think we're seeing that reflected in this esports series with the likes of Tom Stevens, and who we're actually on board with now, Dylan Platt, in 4th place, because these guys give it their all the way, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. They've just been flooring it for 51 laps now.
Yeah. I mean, and Dylan Platt, let's not forget, he was, well, a good 40 plus seconds off the back of Tom Stevens. Yes, he is 1 minute 18, 19 off him at this moment in time, but Tom has just been, well, he's put in a phenomenal race.
Yeah.
But Dylan's really done well, I think, to come back from that start of the race, and I think he can be proud of, if he maintains that pace, and I think he will, of that 4th position.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's probably where he's going to complete tonight's race, depending on what happens in front of him. Just worth noting that Tony Foster had a bit of an off about a lap or so ago in sector 2.
Right.
And getting another penalty just there, through the chicane.
He's probably starting
to
almost
had a bit of a coming together with Sean Street as he came out to lap him, but luckily avoided each other.
Well, hopefully he can maintain it through to the end of this race. We are now with Phil Harris, and well, I've got to say, Phil's done an amazing job. I was commenting on earlier how he'd actually sort of gone up through the field, because lest we forget, he started in that P13 position. He has done really well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's absolutely, he's shone very well tonight. 11 places is nothing to.
And most of it done in the opening sort of 15 laps, really.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. He did make long work of it very quickly from 14th up to P3 where we see him now, and he's even running at P2 for a short while. So very impressive performance for him tonight. And actually, that is exactly where Adrian Rich predicted he would be.
Really?
In P3.
Good God, Adrian! I'm seriously going to have to get you studying some racing.
About the lottery.
No, I just wanted to get. I want to get a load of videos of a good race meet or a certain amount of horses, and just stick them in front of Adrian for about 3 days. Get him to sort of absolutely fest out on it, and then get his predictions for the following racing week.
It's like the octopus that did the World Cup.
So, Phil Harris, as we commented on, fantastic run from him. He's in that 3rd place. Tom Stevens just setting the fastest lap. 2nd place, though, is Callum White, Tom Stevens' teammate. And, well, I mean, great run from Callum, got to say. Obviously, he started in the 2nd row, P4. He's got 2 places, moved up to that P2 position, maintained it, has stayed ahead of Phil Harris, but Phil Harris has closed down that gap to him. It is now standing at just over 2 seconds. I think, Phil, there is potential there, I think, still for a fight in these remaining 17 laps, but a great run from Callum White as well, and really giving some great points to Mercedes team. They really are moving, aren't they, these guys?
They are. Yeah, they're very reminiscent of, like you said earlier on tonight, of their real life counterparts, really, just performing exceptionally well up the front.
Yeah. And you can say, oh, well, they're up the front anyway, but yeah, you're up the front anyway, but you still got to maintain it. It's not,
exactly, yeah.
It's not that black and white, so to speak. And now, let's move on to our P1 sitter, Tom Stevens. God, what can you say? I mean, look at this. 1 minute,
Fastest lap
5
again.
seconds ahead of his teammate. He's just set a 1:29.396, as you say. Fastest lap so far of this race. This is unbelievable.
It is, and not to put that down whatsoever, but what is also unbelievable is the rain has just stopped on lap 54.
Oh my goodness me!
Have I called it? 57? Is it going to be dry?
Oh my goodness me! Well, here's hoping
This
that
could really throw a spanner in the works. We're right at the end of this Grand Prix.
Dan, let's just hope that a pint of water will quench your thirst.
Oh, well, that'll be fine. I was rather hoping for a pint of something else, but
Really?
whatever.
I just said a pint. I didn't actually say
right.
what of, did I?
No, you're quite right, Eddie. Technically, a pint of water will suffice the deal.
Okay, so we are on lap 54 of 70. This is F1 Tonight UK. It's season 1. It's round 12, and we're in Hungary, and there are only 16 laps remaining. This race has been wet throughout, but yet conditions are now drying up. Well, what is going to happen here? And I've got to say, Phil Harris, Dylan Platt, these are the guys that, in my opinion, could win out big time with these changing conditions if they play it right.
What would you do, Eddie? What are you doing now? If
I'd
you're
come
in one of these cars?
I'd come in and go straight onto a set of mediums.
Yeah, I think I would too.
At
this point, whenever I'm driving, it's constantly asking Jeff about the weather conditions, because he'll always tell you what the tyre should be. And the minute he says dry, it's diving into the pits.
Do you know what? Even if he said it's dry for now, but it's only going to be about another 3 laps, I'd still come in.
Yeah, I think I would.
Because you're going to stand to gain more while in these dry conditions, even if it's for 2 or 3 laps, then you'd actually lose.
Yeah. And it's definitely drying up.
It's definitely, but these guys are still staying out. Got to say, you know, it's easy. It's easy for us to sit here in the commentary box and pass comment, but yeah, it's not so straightforward. And Dylan Platt has just been overtaken.
Yep.
By Tom Stevens, I believe. Is it Tom Stevens or Callum?
It is. No, Tom Stevens.
No, it's Tom Stevens. So he has overtaken 4th place. He's only got Phil Harris 21 seconds down the road from Dylan, and he'll overtake 3rd. He could potentially still overtake 2nd place teammate Callum White.
He could. Very interesting if that happens.
Now, Dylan Platt has just been overtaken by the race leader Tom Stevens. Would I be correct in assuming that his heart has just sunk?
I think he could be a bit gutted. But then, equally so, he's coming away with this as it stands with 12 points. He leads Tom by almost 100 points. Yeah. I think what he's actually thinking to go as fast is, give it your best shot, but it's another race in 1 week. and I'll be there soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've got to say, I'm inclined to agree with you on that one, Dan, because he is sitting mightily high at this moment in time in the table.
A bit wobbly there, getting on the grass out of 6. Which seems to do quite often. I don't know if that's a good racing line, if getting on the curb out of 6 is ideal, but he's been doing that quite often actually tonight.
It depends. You can sort of sling yourself around, so you sort of like slingshot yourself around 7. The only downside to that is your entry into 8.
Yeah.
So it can work for you, but it can equally work against you if you don't hit the mark, basically.
I think it's time for dry tyres.
I think it is, but these guys are not coming in. We've been saying that for the past couple of laps. And we've been saying there, what would you do? What would you do? I'd come in for dry. Well, these guys are obviously not listening to us.
I think if I was Phil, I'd definitely be doing it now. Just to try and get the jump on Callum, perhaps.
Yeah, well, could well be. I mean, I've got to say, yeah, Phil would be the one that I would go for. But then again, we said that earlier, didn't we, when they were on the intermediates, and he held out. So you know, maybe he just doesn't feel comfortable in doing so. It's a difficult one to call. We have only got 13 laps remaining. We are on board at this moment in time with 4th place Dylan Platt, but Phil Harris is closing down on Callum White. What does he do? Is he waiting for Callum to pit and just react and try and go on the overcut? He just doesn't feel comfortable with the undercut. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. The thing is, Phil's
trying to get into
got a
the
free stop at this point
is,
because Dylan's over 20 seconds behind him.
If these guys are looking to get into the Red Bull soft territory, they're there.
Yeah.
Phil Harris isn't at this moment in time. I don't know, it's a difficult one to call. I think he's going to react.
I think you're right. I think he'll react as Dylan comes in at 57.
So Dylan is in 22.3. He's behind Phil Harris. We'll see how that pans out at the end of lap 60.
Well, I think the pint is well and truly in order now. Soft tyres on lap 57.
Yes, all right, Dan, you've made your point. You've made your point.
Gone, actually, interestingly.
I'll tell you what, when we have an F1 Tonight UK meet, it's going to cost me a bloody arm and a leg at this rate.
Those guy Adrian a lot of points do from his predictions.
So we are on board at this moment in time with 2nd place Callum White. Why am I with 2nd place Callum White? Because I'm waiting to see who's the first man to come in and go onto those dry tyres. Dylan Platt as the first man in the field. He has got onto the mediums. That's what I would have suspected, but I get the feeling that these guys ahead, 1, 2 and 3, are looking to get into soft territory.
Yeah.
I think they're comfortably there now, surely.
Yeah, Dylan doesn't look very comfortable on them at the moment, as to be said.
Well, let's go on board with actually with Dylan to get an idea. But Phil Harris, look, he's 8 tenths off the back of Callum White, 6 tenths. He's definitely closing down on him, isn't he?
He is, absolutely. He's definitely got the pace in that Williams at the moment.
So those intermediates won't last too much longer. I mean, these guys, those tyres are going to be heating up exponentially. Yeah. They're going to have to be finding the wet spots on those straights to try and cool them down. And you're going to see, actually, probably, I would suspect, out of 11, watch the guys go down the right-hand side of the track to try and cool down those tyres. Yeah.
Phil Harris, interestingly, actually has 3 seconds of penalties at the moment, which means that he won't inherit P2 if he was to overtake him anyway.
Yeah, Callum White's just looking really good. Phil was sort of cooling his tyres a little bit. Oh, this is now where it tells, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit wide there from Callum for 13.
Yeah. And Phil Harris can smell blood now.
He can.
But correct me if I'm wrong, even if you're on intermediates and DRS is activated, can't use it, can you? Or can you?
I think you can.
Can you?
I don't think there's any restriction on your tyres.
It's just whether it's dry conditions, isn't it? Well, it's considered dry, isn't it?
Yeah. Has it been reactivated yet, DRS?
No, it hasn't as yet.
Because that's usually the sign of it's time for dries.
Well, again, that could be what the signal that these guys are looking for. Whilst DRS isn't activated, they're thinking, okay, it's still intermediate territory. But that said, you can gain. I mean, we're not going to see how much, obviously, Dylan has gained.
Well, not much, because we've now got Gary now all over the back of Dylan on the intermediate tyre.
Yeah, let's go cut back to that.
He's going to make the move here for 14.
Yeah, he's
lovely
got the move
stuff.
done.
That's P5.
Yeah,
for Gary in that McLaren. He'll be chuffed with that.
Just back onto Phil on Callum now because he's 2.5 tenths. Oh, just dropped 4 tenths actually. No, he's definitely on the back of that Mercedes as they're coming round 13 now. This is where he gained last time. Look at this, and this is really close. These guys are really battling it out here, aren't they?
It's a great fight. This be it into one. He's not got an awful lot of VRS.
Phil moving out to the right side, cool his tyres down there, get a bit of water on them.
Oh, Dylan's lost it for set to 1.
Oh no, he has. Yeah, he's lost it, and I think he's got damage.
Yeah.
Don't know how much damage. It's cut back
to 1 and sector 2 now, I'm seeing.
Look at this Phil Harris now. Really riding the tail of this Mercedes. He must be taking in that high octane fume in a major way. Let's get on board as they come round 5. Let's watch the move 6, 7. He's not, he's just waiting, isn't he? He's like a praying mantis.
Sitting there patiently waiting for the right moment. There's Dylan's DNFs.
Oh no!
Sector 2. Oh, what a shame.
I think that was out of 5.
Yeah, there he goes. He's on the out of 11.
Was it out of 11? Oh my goodness me. So unfortunately, Dylan has lost out all points. He's DNF'd. It's not tragic, is it, for his championship? No. But you know, he's going to learn from this, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing. His championship looks good, but how will he be?
He'll be absolutely gutted. He'll be absolutely gutted, to be brutally honest. And one can understand that, but ultimately, at the end of the day, he's 100 points ahead of his next rival. Okay, he'll drop down to 70 or so points ahead, but that's still 3 wins ahead.
Oh, Gary's lost it too. Sorry, he's jumped there already. Out of 5, he's probably caught that curb.
He has. He must have caught that right-hand curb there into 5, and it's propelled him off the track. Fortunately, no damage, it looks like, to that McLaren. So that is a positive.
Sean Gregory behind him at the moment, luckily.
Yeah, still a big gap there, 23 seconds. But Phil Harris has dropped back from Callum White. He's now 1.2 seconds. Was he using up his ERS? Difficult to tell in that Williams. He's still got quite a bit left.
Callum's actually got less.
Less slightly, yeah. So there is slightly less there, but he has dropped back. So he got just over a second behind him. We are on lap 62, 70, 8 laps remaining. Are they going to go onto the dry tyres? Are they going to stay on those intermediate tyres? There's only 8 laps remaining. I can't see them staying on those intermediates.
DRS now enabled.
DRS has been enabled, so this is the sign. Is Callum coming in? No, he's not. Phil, go in. Yes!
Go on, Phil. There he is.
Well done, sir. This is the opportunity now. This is the opportunity. It's under a second the gap that he's got to Callum White. Callum White will undoubtedly be pitting at the end of this, but also Tom Stevens will as well. Tom Stevens is into the pits. Yeah, Tom Stevens into the pits. They will, I'm sure of it, be going onto the red softball tyres. Yeah, Phil onto the red wall tyre. Tom coming into his pit now, and he's going onto the yellows.
Interesting.
He's going on to the mediums. That is very interesting.
He doesn't really go on the softs, but he could be
it's a safe call.
Having his fastest lap stolen now, though.
Yeah, it is a safe call. But that said, you know, he's looking at the points, isn't he? You know, what's better? Really? I think, 25 points. Yeah, I'm happy with that. If you get 26, okay, but 25, I'm happy with that. And I think that's what he's looking at.
I'd be interested to see where Callum can, because he obviously was not faster than Phil on the inters, and now he's back out on the softs.
Not. And I think Phil will actually overtake him. Phil is now 20 seconds off the back of him. 19 seconds. He needs to get comfortably into that 18-second gap. I think it's going to be close.
Yeah, it is.
He's got it down to 18.9.
He took a second out of a couple of corners there.
18.3, he's now in the territory. 18.1, yeah, he's in that territory now. 17.7. Callum's not going in. What's he doing?
He's going to try and keep that place, isn't he? Doesn't want to lose it.
Yeah, but 17 seconds, 7 laps remaining. Phil's taking at least 2 seconds a lap out of him.
He's not going to fall into the reach of Phil by the end of this race, but will Phil make the move?
Well, that's the
You'd have
question.
thought so. Yeah, there you go, 4 seconds in 1 lap. Yeah. So he'll definitely catch him in the next couple of laps.
I've got to say, it's a ballsy call from Callum White.
Also, Sean Gregory now looking much quicker and happier on those softs.
Yeah.
Only 3 seconds to Gary ahead. That's coming down.
That is coming down, and he's starting to eat that. So we've had a wet race throughout, but look at this, lap 57. I was duly called by my wonderful, got to say, rookie co-commentator Daniel Burt this evening. Fantastic job, and he called it perfectly, absolutely perfectly. We've now got these guys going on to those soft compound tyres to close this race. There's only 6 laps remaining, but Callum White in the Mercedes, what is he doing? We are sitting there thinking, really? Is that what you're going to do? But it's what he's decided, and he's clearly decided to stay on those inters. But he is losing time to Phil Harris hand over fist. I can't see this working for him. He's coming in. He's coming in.
That's it, P3.
That's it. It's going to be P3 for Callum White. Without any doubt whatsoever.
Unless he's quick enough, but
it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Phil Harris on the straight now. Phil Harris setting the fastest lap at 1:23.040. Nice. And just to give you an idea, the fastest previous lap, I think, was set by Tom Stevens, 1:29.
Yeah, 1:29.3, I think it was.
Yeah, so that goes to show you he's taken 6 seconds out of that. He's moved up into P2. Callum White is out, and he's 13-14 seconds behind Phil Harris. He called that wrong, didn't he, Dan?
He did. He did. He definitely should have pitted earlier on.
Definitely should have pitted. Well, he should have pitted on the previous lap, 63, really.
Yeah, the lap right after Phil did, at least to come out maybe a second or 2 behind and try and fight back.
Yeah, definitely. And it's really left the door open for Phil. And Phil, I'm sure, is going to be a very, very happy man at this moment in time. He's in P2. He's got 14 seconds ahead of P3 Callum White, and there's only 5 laps remaining. They're both on softs. No way is Callum White going to be able to close down enough to make the move on him. All he's got to do is keep it together now, isn't he?
Yeah, just keep it composed. But Sean Gregory is doing very well now. 3/10 behind Gary on the start-finish straight with DRS, I'm sure.
Let's have a look at this now. Sean Gregory
up into 1.
Taking that hard curb on the inside there, stays ahead of Gary McKenny, takes that place from him. Sean Gregory moves up into 5, and we were saying, you know, had this race not changed, Sean Gregory would have been in problems, but now that's gone to dry conditions, that Toro Rosso has come alive.
It has. Off he goes. Maybe off he goes. We'll see how Gary responds. There's no slouch as Gary McKenny, that's for sure.
No, but that's true. But I mean, look at this.
But neither is Sean, equally.
Yeah, exactly. He's made a move on him. He's already, 6, 7 tenths, 8 tenths ahead of him. I think that Toro Rosso setup speaks for itself, really, in regards to this.
Yeah.
And, Sean is definitely in comfortable territory. Not to detract anything, obviously, from Gary McKenny, but I think he's got his work cut out for him if he wants to try and push. Certainly can do, still within a second of doing it. So not unknown. So we could see a change there for that 5th place. Sean Street, though, in 4th place. Nice run from him. Consistent run. He really has done a great race this evening. I've got to say, great race from him.
He has, absolutely. As short as Sean just there, obliterating the previous fastest lap now in the 121s.
121, 2 seconds on faster.
That's what we're saying. Brilliant job from Sean. Only down 1 place on his. I think what we can maybe agree is a bit of an out of place quali for him. Yeah. P3, but P4, great result.
Yeah, definitely. He should be happy with that. Let's have a look at the guys though quickly at the back there. We've got Tony Foster in that Ferrari. Great race, consistent race, and this is what I always say about Tony. He may not necessarily be the fastest, but he is consistent, and he just keeps raking those points up, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Gary has lost it.
Has he?
The same corner, yeah, turn 5 again.
Oh, God.
No damage, but that's definitely the fight over with Sean, unfortunately, this time round.
I think it is. I think you're right there. So, Tony Foster will be finishing in P8. Ryan Lear, as long as it stays like this for the remaining 3 laps, he'll be finishing in P7. Gary McKenny, who we were just riding... Oh, who?
Sorry, Ryan's just gone flying off out of turn 4.
He has. Didn't see that. I don't know if I caught that because I was just switching to Gary McKenny. I don't think I did, actually.
That's got to be a red right front for sure. That's going to hinder him a little bit.
No, it certainly isn't going to help him, that's for sure. So, as I say there, Gary McKenny, and he'll be taking that P6 place as it stands at this moment in time. Sean Gregory, well, he is in that P5 place. He's got 19 seconds to Sean Street. Can't see him closing the gap unless Street makes a mistake, so he'll be finishing P5. Sean Street, who we were just commenting on, obviously he's in that P4 place. Good, solid race from him. Callum White, well, Callum White, I've got to say, fantastic race from him, but he missed that call on going on to those dry tyres, didn't he? It's cost him.
Just got the strategy wrong today, and it's cost him that place. But and actually, just worth noting that Tom did come round to lap him just on this lap.
He did.
So he has passed his teammate.
My goodness me. So Callum White in 3rd place is lapped by his teammate. Then we have obviously Phil Harris in that Williams. Fantastic race from Phil. Really, really, really good race, I've got to say. But the race leader, Tom Stevens, well, you know what? I mean, I'm sure you're aware, Dan, that we call the driver of the day. I'm not going to call it yet, but let's put it like this. It might be the guy that's on the screen.
Yeah. I personally wouldn't say it was the guy on the screen, as much as a great job he's done.
You're going to go with Phil Harris?
Yeah. Yeah. I think Phil will be my guy for it tonight, as it stands.
Okay, I'm going to put this out to vote, because we're 50-50. Normally we have a background conversation. Dan, obviously, being new, I didn't inform him of that, so he wasn't aware.
So I've just shouted it out right away.
No, it's okay. It's all right. It's not a problem. So I want to make it interesting. I'm calling Tom Stevens the driver of the day. Dan's calling Phil Harris, and I can understand why. I've got to say, I've got to be honest, it's a toss of a coin for me. But he has driven a fantastic race. So I'm going to put it out to our viewers, YouTube viewers. I want you to tell me who you think should be driver of the day. Don't name somebody we haven't named, please, because it just makes it confusing. I want you to decide between Tom Stevens and Phil Harris, and I want you to put it down now so that we know for the close of this race.
The Phils are coming in thick and fast on the stream here, Eddie, I'm afraid. Matt's gone for it, and Silda Witt as well, if he's one of the NL guys, perhaps.
So we're putting it out to the vote there. Your votes will count. You will be charged at standard rates, but please remember not to call if you are watching this stream over.
Oh, we got greetings from Enmar tonight.
Oh wow, fantastic.
I'm not sure who Enmar is, but hello.
I'm sure it will come to fruition. I think that's one of the new drivers.
One of the NL guys, yeah.
New NL driver. So Tom Stevens now coming round turn 5 for the close of this F1 tonight, season 1, round 12 here at the Hugaroring for the Hungarian Grand Prix. He's led from start to finish. He has lapped 3rd place, only stood to lap 2nd place to lap the whole field. So he's one away, but what a phenomenal race from Tom Stevens. as he comes round the final corner onto the start-finish straight and crosses the line, taking P1. What a
and the fastest lap as well.
And he gets the fastest lap
3
as
seconds
well.
quicker.
Tom Stevens,
Wow.
what a fantastic run from him. Absolutely amazing. And let's get a perspective on this. Phil Harris, who will be coming in second place, is just coming down to turn 12 now. And Phil Harris for Williams will take the second place on the podium. Sorry, it wasn't turn 12 actually. I do apologise. It was actually turn 8 or 9.
Yeah,
it's only coming round.
Very early in the lap.
Turn 11, yeah.
It was a lap down, isn't it?
It was a lap down, yeah. Turn 11 into 12. I thought he was moving fast actually. That's a total miscalculation on my part. My apologies. But yeah, Phil Harris now coming round into turn 14 now to take second place. Phenomenal race from Phil Harris, gotta say. Let's not forget, started in P15, and what a great race from him. Fantastic job. And Callum White in the Mercedes will be coming in second place.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
So there you have it. Fantastic run there. Tom Stevens takes the win. Phil Harris for Rocket Williams takes second. And Callum White for Mercedes takes third place. What an absolutely amazing race. Well, I have asked Dan to invite the drivers in for a podium interview. So hopefully the drivers will recall that that would be the format, and hopefully they will answer those calls and we can get them in. It has, yeah. It started raining on the board, would you believe?
Nice.
So I presume you've obviously put those calls out,
They are, yeah. Phil's
Dan.
just
So
arrived.
we'll just wait and see who turns up. If they don't turn up within a few seconds, then we'll move on and terminate. But I think it'd be nice if we can get them in. Hopefully, have a chat with them.
Callum White's unavailable, so we've got two of them.
We've got two. Okay, so we've got.
Oh no, Callum White's here now. Here we go. They're all in.
Okay, so we've got Tom, Callum, and Phil. Congratulations, all. Fantastic race, I have to say. And well, Dan, actually, do you want to do the interviews? Go ahead, sir.
Oh well, thank you very much. I've just got a message from Phil saying his mic's broken.
Oh dear.
But firstly, yeah, guys, just wicked job all round. Phenomenal driving. It was a brilliant race to watch. I mean, Tom, this question is just more, what the hell? Were you just doing hot laps the whole race? Was there any stress on your part at all, mate?
Well, yeah. Good evening, guys. Anyway, yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, of course, I bagged it on pole with a decent lap, and then in the race, I managed to get a massive gap very quickly, and I knew I had to just keep it on the track, and I had a few close moments, but no, I wanted to make sure that I was just going at a pace, a consistent pace. I wasn't going for fastest laps. I just happened to get them, and then
cruising along.
for the dries at the end, I wanted to make sure I get fastest lap, and I knew it was going to be tough, but I thought it would be better to go onto mediums because I knew that the sauce would overheat, and as the track got quicker and quicker from the rain to the dry, I thought I have a good chance on the mediums, and just about pipped it.
Nice, mate. Yeah, as I said, very impressive. And good evening as well, mate. Good to speak to you again.
Yeah, it's good.
I can't ask Phil anything because he's on the no mic, but I would have asked.
Well, if you knew Morse code, we'd get him to tap it out.
I don't actually know what I would have asked Phil, except for, as well as Tom, just an amazing drive.
Yeah,
from the back
fantastic race from Phil, undoubtedly. I mean, he really did deliver, Phil, on that, and to get that P2 place, absolutely amazing. Great run.
Exceptional. But Callum, mate, hello, good evening to you as well. I've got to ask, why didn't you pit earlier?
Honest with you, I have no idea really. It was too close, and I was like, fuck it, I'm staying out. And I was like, oh, I'll see how long I can go in the inters, because I knew by the time Phil pitted, there was no way I'd be able to catch up again. So
yeah, that's what we figured after you stayed out again. We thought that was your strategy, was just try and stay out and keep them behind as long as you could.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, Dan, obviously Dan called that strategy, and I could see where it was coming from, but obviously 2 laps into that,
it wasn't going to work.
It wasn't going to work. Yeah, it definitely wasn't going to work. It's a shame, but I guess, like everything, you learn from that, don't you? That's the thing, Callum.
Of course. You got to just take it with a bit of salt and move on. And
Yeah, absolutely.
Equally a good drive, mate. P3, can't complain.
I mean, great points, obviously, for Mercedes. You guys are starting to now progress through that Constructors' Championship. You're pushing, obviously, at the Drivers' Championship. Tom, obviously, question to you, mate. Race 12, we've got 9 races remaining. Are you going to be able to eat into that 70-odd point lead of Dylan's? Do you think you're going to be able to challenge him?
It's going to be super tough. I'm going to have to be on my A game. But hopefully this is the turn point. Of course, I legitimately lapped Dylan. I know it didn't go his way. And then I think he binned it when pitting onto dries too early. He just lost it. I mean, he didn't have any choice. He had to make that call, and I think he went for it, obviously. But, I mean, he's got no points. 100 point was the deficit. You picked up 4 points. It's going to be around about 70-odd points now, the difference. So it's starting to close down. That is still in your sights. That championship, that Season 1 championship is still in your sights. Oh, absolutely, yeah. I'm not ready to give up. Hopefully, another result will come next week. Maybe a bit more rain. I don't mind that.
I was going to say, you must be relishing that. You look so quick tonight, mate.
Well,
yeah, thank you.
Gentlemen, fantastic race. One and all of our podium finishers. And thank you for joining us for that post-race interview. Well, gentlemen, what can I say? Next week, Dan, we're at Spa.
Oh,
we're at Spa.
Wait.
I'm going to buy myself a box of Belgian chocolates just to celebrate that day. So next week, 7:30 UK time, 8:30 Central European time, we will be broadcasting live F1 Tonight UK for round 13 of Season 1 at Spa. But this Thursday, we will be at Spa with the F1 Tonight Netherlands League. And joining me in the commentary box will be Adrian Rich. So don't forget to join us this Thursday, 7:30 UK time, 8:30 Central European time for the F1 Tonight NL Belgian Grand Prix. And on closing, I've got to say, Dan, thank you very, very much for co-commentating me this evening. It has been absolutely fantastic. And to you, sir, I say, if you can guess it, Huzzah!
Huzzah! No, thank you very much for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been very
fantastic. And we look forward to seeing you next week, joining me in the commentary box for Spa. So that only leaves me to say goodnight. Thank you all for joining us. We are back, and we will be staying back. We may have changes of commentators in the future, but don't worry, the streams will be there. It's going to be a good night from me.
And it's a Huzzah from me.
Good night, everyone. Take care.